Oh snap! There is a pause live option. You know, so I'm on TikTok right now, but people keep for a third option when it comes to atheism and theism. There's a false dichotomy. They're like, well, what's the third option? It's funny. Just like get triggered.
Nice.
Yo, yo, yo. All right, all right. No, I'm just kidding. I don't do that. What's up? You guys here to get wrecked? Get prove me wrong? What's going on? You want to do this? Where you guys at? You want to come up? You want to come up here? Prove me something wrong? Prove me something right? Where's it at? I got the prop. Where you at, Jordan? You got a problem with my prop, man? What about you, Clay? You guys can come up, but the problem is I don't have a bunch of followers, so people can't just click the button. Apparently, I gotta invite you up. So it's the only problem.
Oh, what's up?
Whoa, this guy's talking on my Discord. I gotta mute that stuff. You guys want to come up here and prove that atheism and theism is not a false dichotomy? Because I'm arguing that it. Oh, you got. Let me see. Let me see. Up there you are. You got to be 18. Are you 18?
Hello?
Are you 18 or older?
Yeah,
How old are you?
21.
Okay. All right, prove it.
I have a question. What's like a false dichotomy? What's that mean?
Okay, I hear like a lot of splashing noises and stuff, man.
I don't know what you're hearing. I'm
not gonna play with that, dude. Yeah, I don't know if he's in a bath or not, but I'm not gonna deal with that. I don't know what was going on with that. Why are you on TikTok, dude? We're supposed to be behaving on here. If you want to misbehave, there's like better platforms for that, dude. What's wrong with you? Does anybody want to prove some stuff? Because I'm arguing, check this out. I'm arguing that atheism and theism are a false dichotomy. I believe I can prove that. Dean, no, I'm not Dean. I'm nowhere close to. I'm not a debate bro. I'm not. I suck at debate. I get frustrated. I have anger problems. I have a lot of anger problems, so I'm not a good debater. I just know a bunch of stuff. I got a bunch of memes in my head, and I use them to Socratically retro engineer people's philosophies. You know, with my philosophy, I'm just doing what everybody else does. Everybody else is doing it. I'm doing the same thing. That don't make me nobody other than myself. So, I mean, Dean's cool, I guess. I've seen some of his material. I don't really get into that side of stuff, to be honest. And I'm new to TikTok. I'm very new to TikTok. So it is what it is. Does somebody want to come up here and, do it? Let's do it. Prove that atheism and theism is a true dichotomy, and I'll prove that it's bullshit, that it's not, that it's stupid. That'll be my job. Besides, Dean's like way more attractive than me. He's like a young man. He doesn't got all the wrinkles. Look at this fucking. I'm all falling apart. So let's go. Where's the people who believe that it's a true dichotomy? You're gonna argue that, or you just need me to prove it to you that you don't got that? You guys don't. You guys ready for it? There's two forms of a dichotomy. Y'all know the forms of the dichotomies. You got A or not A, or you got A or B. But in order for A or B to be a dichotomy, there can only be one A and one B. Otherwise, you've got, more than dichotomy. You got A, B, and C. D, E, F, right? You can have one or the other, A or B, not A and B, A or B. Those are your options, right? That's a dichotomy. And so you got two options. Is theism one option? Does everybody think that theism's one option? Or is there a multitude of options there? I think if I unpack it, that it's going to be the case that there are multiple options, multiple independent, contradictory options for theism. So that we're going to have a multitude of categories. The only way to properly represent it's going to be A sub 1, A sub 2, A sub 3, A sub 4, however many you need. There's a lot of religions out there, so you need a lot of numbers there. That's not dichotomous, like immediately right there. That violates. But I mean, atheism's got the same problem, right? There's different kinds of contradictory atheisms, except for the one common that they don't believe in anything. But there's different modalities. Those modalities are not like in line with each other. So there's different forms of atheism. You've got Gnostic atheism, agnostic atheism, strong, weak atheisms. There's different ways to catch the atheisms. There's just a lot more ways to catch the theisms. But there's a multitude. So it's not B sub. It's not just B, it's B sub 1, 2, 3, so that's a false dichotomy. Definitely a false dichotomy. The only way you could really, truly make it a true dichotomy would be like the stamp collector versus not stamp collector form. That would be dichotomous, where you're not trying to tell me what not stamp collecting is. You're just saying not stamp collecting. So there's one option. Well, there's two options. There's that option or not that option. And that's another form of dichotomy, but this is clearly not the case with atheism. It's clearly the case that atheism is not just not theism. There's a multitude of responses to theism from atheism. Atheism takes many forms. So it's not A or not A in this scenario. It's A or B. That's the proper form of dichotomy we should be going with, not A or not A, it's A or B, and we see that that's nonsense. It's not a true dichotomy. Now, you guys are welcome to explain to me how it is a true dichotomy. That would be a fun conversation. Does anybody want to take issue with that? I have to invite you because I suck and I don't have 1,000 followers. So if you want to come up, just say you want to come up and I'll give you the invite. But you got to be 18 years or older. And no debate bro bullshit, because I am not a debate bro and I hate debate bros. I'm anti-debate bro-ismist. I'm an anti-debate bro-ismister. Okay? So just throwing that out there. So what do we got? We got somebody in here that's convinced thoroughly through inculcation that that atheism and theism is in fact a dichotomy. I would say you could make a dichotomous solution here. I don't know if you nerds took microbiology. Any of you nerds take microbiology? What's up, Andre? You take microbiology and you could figure out through a dichotomous solution, a particular thing. But a dichotomous solution isn't a dichotomy. It's using dichotomous principles, the principles of a dichotomy, to rule out or rule in, really, to rule in, but to rule out by ruling out. And that's what a dichotomous solution is for. What are the other options? What do you mean? What are the other options? There's just one option. That's Igtheism. Igtheism is the only option that we have at this point, because proper ontology cannot be represented by a category called God. God cannot be categorized properly. You would have to fallaciously argue for why of the multitude of gods, how we can rectify the contradictions amongst them to give a common uniting factor that would be the category by which we would be appealing to. But I don't think you nerds can do that, because that's why I'm an ichtheist, because I recognize there's a problem with doing that. So the only valid position to take on the topic of the God thing is Igtheism, unfortunately for atheists and theists, because both of them lack the ability to properly represent their epistemology. They lack access to the ontology. So whether they're right or wrong isn't part of the examination yet. Foundations would be part of the examination. It would be what is the evidence by which you would be appealing to, right? Like what is the basis for your claim that anything is whatever you're saying it is, whether it's a dog or a god? You don't just get to call anything you want a dog and still pretend you're speaking monkey like the rest of us, because you wouldn't be. You have to define a particular thing for your word dog to have context. Now, through semantics, we can give the word dog a few contexts and stuff, but we also have to worry about what's called the natural ambiguity of language, so we can only stray so far before we become overly ambiguous and you basically break down communication. You have no proper linguistic representation. If God means everything, then answer this question: God, 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 God. Right? There's actually, you could Google this, y'all. If you don't trust me here, Google buffalo. Hold on, buffalo, 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 buffalo. I did not repeat myself. If you think I repeated myself right there, you're wrong. I did not repeat. I'll say it again. This is the only time I'll repeat myself. I'm only going to repeat myself once. Buffalo, 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 buffalo. Okay? That is a sentence constructed with using seven different words. That's 7 different words there in that statement. You could look it up. There's a whole thing about it. There's a lot of different ways to communicate. But when we're trying to give proper linguistic form or semantic representation to ontology, you must be guided by your experience of the ontology. That's what's going to allow you to draw from your nearly infinite epistemic set, your lexicon of descriptors, to describe, right? But before you encounter an object, all of them apply equally. Every word in your brain applies as a descriptor to unknown object X equally. What happens when you experience unknown object X is that your brain naturally filters out all the irrelevant semantic representations, and you land on a much fewer set of semantic representations, automatically. That's just how your brain does it, because your brain's just really good at object identification and categorization. So that's proper linguistic representation. There is a box behind me, right? That I described this to you, and through our shared interrelated experience, I could describe it. I could say it's a box full of coffee pods, and it's probably giving me cancer, and I don't even know it. That's a shared interrelated experience. You affirm that there's a box behind me. I affirm that there's a box behind me, and we have a shared experience of that. If I said it was like a box of cream, right? That would be epistemically invalid, right? It's a box of coffee. So I could get it wrong. I could say something wrong about it. And how do we know that it's wrong? Because ontology. We look at it and our brain naturally filters from all the irrelevant semantic notions in your brain, like a round, right? How come your brain isn't thinking round? Well, it might be thinking round right there. Right there. You'd be like, well, hey, but that's why my brain is thinking round, because it's right there. Yeah, if you want to hop up, if you think I'm dumb, and I need an education, I guess, let me know. Let me know, because I think the only reason that you would call this a box is just because it's part of your experience. And then through my shared interrelated experience, I say, yeah, it's a box, or vice versa. You're telling me, yeah, it's a box. Good job, nailed it. I get a gold star, right? Proving a God should be as hard as proving a box, right? This is how you demonstrate. Look, I could prove things without words. Watch. You gotta watch stuff. I can only do this if you watch it. Epistemically, we should all be able to build our own model before we even draw upon our semantics. You should be able to, on your side of the camera here and in your side of the world, pull out a sheet of paper, write down whatever I just showed you, and we should all converge, as long as we're not like really messed up somehow, on a common theme here. This is trivial, right? It sounds condescending that I'm even pointing it out almost. It seems like I'm just being condescending that says, hey, if you want to know like what a thing is, you got to look at it. And then looking at it will automatically, the Wernicke's area of your brain will be like, hey, yeah, pick this word, bro. Pick round. Pick cap. Dude, trust me. Brocus is ready to say bottle cap. Just say bottle cap, bro. And then you say bottle cap. That's like the whole conversation. The whole thing. Your brain just went bam and put it together and you're saying bottle cap. Bottle cap is a semantic representation for this thing that can be represented without words. No semantics are being used right now as I hold it up in my hand and I show it to you. Semantics not required. It's not required. Semantics not required. But semantics are there, but you got to ask yourself, how does your brain land on the proper semantics that we all just converge on a same basic. It's through our shared interrelated experience that, we could give epistemic pushback. That since it's right there in the open, if you say it's red, well, you're wrong. Everybody's going to be like, it's wrong. There's something wrong with your eyes. If you say it's square, it's like, dude, people are going to be like, go back to the third grade, bro. You forgot shapes, right? That's how that works. And now, what does it mean to talk about the nature of a thing, whether it's like blue and a bottle cap or any of that, without an experience? Let's not appeal to experience. What does that look like? Well, that looks like imagination. It's identical to imagination. And so I would just task my interlocutor to be able to differentiate imagination from reality by having epistemic access or grant anything that you say about the nature of a thing. And so that's atheism and theism. Atheism and theism is struggling at the fact that they lack proper epistemic foundations due to a lack of ontological coherence. That the word God appeals to a multitude of ontologies, different ontologies. Ontologies that have nothing to do with each other. Ontologies that are eons apart, right? Like millennia apart, right? Our species has been believing in God probably since our species, since these big brains been on this planet. We've probably been imagining of God things and turning our wonderment in, crystallizing it into words and semantics that we could share. We've probably been doing that the whole time. So things like the sun have probably always been God to our big ass monkey brains, right? So there's gods that are real. Just, I think we all ask the question, what makes it a God? What makes the sun a God? Why are those ancients wrong? Why are people from 300,000 years ago wrong that the sun that they worshipped in the sky wasn't God? I don't know why they're wrong. But the theists, they could disagree with it. They'll be like, well, yeah, epistemically, I just push back. In fact, it's not even the same ontology. In fact, I'm talking about a completely different ontology. And they go off on this, rant, this tangent that has nothing to do with that God. You're like, yeah, I mean, that's your God, but not that God. That God's been worshipped like 299,000 years more than your God. You're like, well, what are you doing here? Why should I go with your God over the God that's been worshipped as God for the last 300,000 years? What makes you so special? That's right, because they're up here in our faces in 2026. They're more prominent. They're, so it's the prominently believed God. But there's been 117 billion human beings that have walked this planet. Do you think the majority of them believed in Christ or Muhammad or Vishnu? No, the majority of them overwhelmingly did not believe in any of those things. There's like a lot of like cognitive panaceas and brain blocks that stops people from understanding atheism. But this is actually pretty simple. You could start with proving that atheism and theism are proper dichotomous form. Prove that, and I'll just concede atheism right at the onset, because it requires that atheism is incoherent, because theism is fundamentally incoherent in order for theism or for Igtheism to exist as a proper philosophy. But you guys just got your epistemics and your ontologies all wrong. You start with proper ontology. You observe something, right? You have an experience of something. And then you attempt to explain it, which is a draw upon your semantic lexicon to best represent the idea here. And when we're talking about ontology, the best idea here would be the way that we would share it in our experience. So how do you do this? This is simple, it's trivial, but the problem is we don't have this for the God thing. We have a multitude of these things. When I say the word God, your brain should be identifying multiple different independent categories. If it's not doing that, you have a cognitive bias, right? You're zoomed into, like you're zoomed in on a problem. You're too myopic. Zoom out, and you'll see that there's a multitude of God things. You'll immediately see what I'm talking about. There's a multitude of God things out there that you can't put in a singular category. And so your brain just automatically kind of does it. It's just like, all right, well, I can talk about these, and I can talk about those. Right, but you got to remember, we're differentiating imagination from reality here. So you need to be able to do that to properly represent the epistemics that theism and atheism are even appealing to. If you can't properly give epistemic foundation to any of the semantic references that you would be using, why should anybody take you seriously? Right? How would they be able to differentiate imagination from reality? If you're not appealing to reality, your statements should be curtailed to non-reality. Don't use statements like weight, temperature, size, velocity, vectors. Right? Don't use these kinds of words, because those are physical words. And if you say God is, that's a physical word. We understand isness and its physical manifestation, right? Essence, being, that's isness. You guys want to use some of the easiest to spell words. Everybody knows how to spell is. Everybody knows how to spell it. These are easy. I. Those are the most complicating words in like all languages. I and it. What does it mean? Well, have you ever Googled what the word it means? It's a pretty big word. If you get an unabridged dictionary, holy she, right? The word it is a huge word in an unabridged dictionary. So listen, all you got to do is prove that atheism and theism is not a false dichotomy, and I will concede. Anybody? Any takers? This should be easy. It's like 8 billion to 1 right now. I have literally no live streaming Igtheist to draw upon right now. You guys could just like get all the big brains, come at me. Let me hear it. Prove me wrong, right? Prove me wrong. This should be easy. I mean, it's easy for me to prove it right. All I got to do is look at it, right? Just look at it. The famous philosopher I forget the name of the philosopher, but that was his argument. It's just like, would you just look at that? Right? That's the nature of my philosophy, is that I'm just saying, would you look at that for every claim that I say is true? You're going to be like, why are you saying it? I'm going to like, well, just look at it, right? And if I can't do that, I'm not going to say it that way, right? If I can't just be like, well, look at it, right? If I can't do that, then I'm not going to tell you that that's the case, because that's what I would do to you. You told me God's 37 kilograms. You know what I'm going to say? What scale did you use? Did you calibrate the scales? Did you put something of a known weight on it before God got up on the scale and put its mass on the scale? And were you on planet Earth? Because 37 kilograms, this is a sliding scale here. It depends on where you're at, right? In reference to object size and density and all this nonsense. It's a big thing. But you get to just mouth 37 kilograms. It's easy. Anybody can do that. I could square circle man some shit, right? But what I'm asking is it true that God is X, Y, or Z, like non-existent or is that true? Is there a way to evaluate this statement? I don't think there is, which is why I'm so confident in saying that atheism and theism is a false dichotomy. Got no takers. I see a lot of support going on. I appreciate all the love and attention there. That's great. What would really help out, though, is somebody proving me wrong. simply articulate to me how atheism is one option, or that theism is one option. One option. We're going to have to, you want to come up here, boss? Are you 18? Are you 8? Let me see if you're on my list. I have to invite. Let me see if you're on my list. Yeah, I see. You ready? All right, let's do this. Prove it, dude. Oh, sorry about that.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
That's a relative term. My up might be your sideways, bro. Okay?
Yeah, if we're on a globe.
So can you prove it's a true dichotomy like I just literally proved in actuality that it's a false dichotomy?
No, I don't think I can. Not without faith. And you have to do that blindly, right? Like, you have to just know it's there.
Dude, do you think faith is a proper methodology? Like when I say just look at it, I think that's a proper methodology. If I'm saying,
guess I misunderstood what you were asking.
I'm asking chat to
Sorry
prove
about
that
that.
atheism is one option, and that theism is one option. Because if that's not an and statement, then I win. I'll win. I will win there. I will declare victory, and I won't win shit, but I'll still win. I'll win a mind is what I might win. I win my mind, right? Like I win that every time. So you can't make me feel
okay.
bad for learning. Yeah, I don't have a,
Yeah,
I don't have 1,000
I don't really
followers.
have
So
any ins or outs about it. I just, believe in our little thing. I'm Native American, and I just believe in that something created us that's bigger than us.
have you ever heard of
We should
Big Owl
respect
or
it,
the Trickster Coyote? Have you ever heard of those two? The Trickster Coyote or Big Owl?
Yeah, yep. We call him Winnabajuju, the trickster.
Your, what do I call it? Tribe? Your nation?
In our lore, it's our lore, folklore.
In your,
and our tribal nation.
but you guys don't take the coyote form or whatever in yours?
Yeah, and I'm from two different tribes. My mom was from the Dakota Sioux tribe, and those are the ones that believe in the coyote. They call them Shunkawakan, the trickster, and the coyote, and then they have the spider, Iktomi. But
I only
I'm
know
also,
about Big Owl and
Ojibwe,
Coyote.
and that's my father's side.
Yeah, I don't really know a whole lot. I just learned about the Trickster Coyote a long time ago when I was learning about religions, when I first got out of Christianity, and I was still being inculcated by atheists to think better.
Yeah, it's my growing up was different because my grandmother used to make me take all the kids over to the church for Sunday school while she cooked breakfast. So I was like not forced, but like I was made to go learn about like Bible. We would do Bible study every Sunday, so I was forced to learn about Christianity and theology because we would read the Bible, and that was the church that I grew up in, was a Christian church, Lutheran Christian. So that was what we grew up on, but I didn't particularly like have my own faith in it. We were also Native American in the household, and that wasn't really like anything that was forced upon us by anybody in particular. So the religion was a pretty lax subject around our house growing up.
Well,
If you wanted it, it was there, and if you didn't seek it, it wasn't going to come to you.
Coercion is a type of force, though. You say it wasn't forced on you, and I say coercion is a type of force, and proximity to belief is a type of coercion. So it is forced upon you by the behaviors and actions, like your ethics. All the things you think are good were concepts that were, in effect, forced upon you through this process called inculcation. It's how we get our culture, and it's forced in the sense that we're reactive beings and reciprocal beings. So we learn from our environment through observation and hands-on, like practicing. So like the first time you dropped your rattle or binky or whatever made you feel safe as a baby, and you felt that loss and mourning, was toddler trauma that you had to learn to process, and your brain did, and it learned to cope with maybe somebody picked it back up and gave it to you and stuff, and you learned that kind of dependence and that aid, that assistance. These are very primitive thoughts, man. And so I think it's interesting that you're talking about the differences in the variations of the trickster coyote. I only understood it as an Apache belief. I didn't know if that was a belief that was widespread within the nations of the indigenous people. But I think it helps exemplify the fact that I've never actually met a person who knew about the trickster coyote in that fashion. And it's a meme that I've held onto my brain for 30 years. It's been in there. I've often talked about it. I've used the trickster coyote in conversation because almost every time Christians don't know the first thing about the trickster coyote. They've never heard about it. It's just a fucking joke to these people, right? They minimize it. They laugh like, oh, it's just stupid beliefs or whatever they might say, right? And that's what I'm trying to teach them, is that theirs are as to that as they are to me, right? As someone might look at the trickster coyote from their Christian privilege, I look at Christianity from the same lens, but not from a point of privilege. The only privilege I have is that I've had the luxury of having so many conversations with my fellow human being that I've learned a great deal about anthropology dealing with this. I guess that's what allows me to recognize that atheism and theism is a false dichotomy, because somehow, somewhere along the way, we get deluded into manipulated, gaslit into believing that it is a singular option. That's like saying, all men and all women is two options here. It's not two options, right? That's a multitude. That's 4 billion options on one side and 4 billion options on the other side. That's not dichotomous. You can make that dichotomous. You could say male versus female. That would be dichotomous. But we're saying all the males versus all the females. That's a dichotomy. And I'm saying that's fucking stupid. I think anybody can recognize that's not a dichotomy.
Yeah, that's good. I can agree with you. So I guess you can go ahead and let me back to the wilds. Release me back to the wilds.
Don't say it like that, man. Don't say it like that. Not you. Not you.
Wrong or get you.
No, I have a very negative and hostile persona, but TikTok is an ever-pervasive AI robot that's looking directly at me right now. So I don't know what to tell you, man. Watch out for Big Al, dude. That's all I can say.
Yeah, thanks.
Do you want me to kick you down, or?
I mean, I'll stay here and chat with you. You ain't got nobody else up here. I don't mind hanging out.
Well, yeah, I just want someone to prove me wrong.
No, I think you're right. I don't think you're wrong, no. So it's not gonna be me.
Right. See, and that's the problem, is manipulation and inculcation is due to proximity of memes. You just absorb them. Does anybody want to get up here? All right, yeah, I'm gonna send you down. Thanks for your contribution. Come back anytime. Just let me know. But you got background noise, and I don't think everybody's going to appreciate that. So what I need is somebody to read the prompt, get triggered, think, and then unfuck my brain. If I'm wrong about this, that's what I'm looking for. That's the order of operation here. That's what I'm looking for. Anybody want to do that? Prove it's a dichotomy. Prove that theism is one option and that atheism is one option. No contradictions allowed, obviously. I can't believe I had to say that. So is anybody, you ready? You want to come up here, Rebel? Prove it's a dichotomy? I got to invite, because I'm not cool enough to have 1,000 subs and people can just join. I think what's the problem. I've only been TikToking for 2 days, and the robot doesn't trust me, apparently. And I don't know what that's got to do with me. If somebody clicks on a button, comes up and shows their penis, that's not my fault. I will, like, ban that stuff, though, as, you know, appropriate robot, but that's not my fault. Not one of yous. How many is in here? How many of you people can I click on and invite? There's 5 people. I can literally click on 5 of you people and invite 6, 9. It's like, what's going on? Not one of yous can prove that it's a dichotomy without contradictions. Bruh. Come on. This is 8 billion to 1, guys. How many people live on TikTok? It's that many versus me right now. I have no help. I haven't even, like, done philosophy. I've only learned philosophy from sophists and internet philosophers. Well, except for my philosophy 101 class and my ethics class and my sociology class and my cultural anthropology class and my principles of human communication. All right. I've taken a lot of classes that are relevant in the field, but I have no formal training in actually being a nerd. So this should be easy. And I'm telling you, no debate, bros. No debate, broing. This ain't about victories. This is about learning. Everybody wins when one of us learns, okay? Everyone. Let Rub. Oh, he wants to come up. I didn't see him. Hold on. He's not even on my list. What are you talking about? Yeah, he's not on my list. I got Balls, who just proved that the trickster coyote was not just some bullshit somebody told me about in the past, even though I knew that was already true because I've looked it up. I just never actually spoke to an indigenous person who knew about it before, so that's interesting. And then I got you and King Billiot. Everybody else agrees with me that it is a false dichotomy. Bam. Get wrecked, nerds. Are you up? Like, are you... Dude, I don't even see you on the list, man. Are you a new... If you're a new account, it might not let you on. I got Acclaim, Just a Skeptical Guy, King Billiot, Durb, Abdi, whatever. It's another language. I can't even read English that well, guys. Sorry. Yeah, no, I'm telling you, it's got to be because I'm a new account. Technically, this is a new account. It's a month old. You know, I just created it for the purposes of spreading my memes like a month ago, and I haven't been able to go live the whole time. But they finally let me go live because I asked them like 80 times. And now I'm live, but I guess there's still a restriction that since I don't have 1,000 subs, that people don't have the button. As soon as I get 1,000 subs, it should change that. So, or followers or whatever it's called. But until then, I got to invite. There's only 2 people, and everybody else on TikTok apparently agrees that it's a false dichotomy. I'm just going to go out and say it. Everybody on TikTok, 100% of the people on TikTok all agree that I'm right, literally about everything. That's what it is right now. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to have to pull that card. All right, Striker. John, you got a problem with my prop, dude? Is that why you came here? You looked at my prop and had a problem with it? Oh, wow. They're already gone. They can't handle the heat, dude. People just, they can't do it, man. I think it's because they're not passionate enough, and that's my superpower here, is I'm passionate. I have a lot of passion, you know. The passion. All right, Joe. Everybody's looking at you, man. And Ronald, you just coming in here having a problem with the prompt, dude? You think it's a dichotomy, man? Wow. Wow. That's crazy. Dude, I was told it was going to be a bloodbath over here on TikTok. That's just what I heard, man. I got to say the quality of conversations is definitely better over here than, you know, my normal cesspool breeding ground. But I got to say, I thought that I was going to get proven wrong a lot faster than this. I thought there was going to be more pushback. I didn't realize that so many people were just going to buckle this quick, dude. This is sort of embarrassing, TikTok. I'm just going to say it. Look, I'm a full-blown knuckle dragger. That's what I am. That is where I come from. That is my roots. It's just wild, man, that I could say this out loud on the internet where billions of people can come at me. And just as long as they don't debate, oh, look at that. I got that head penis thing. I need to like angle my stuff better. It's just, you know, I mean, I'm just trying to help out the only way that I know how to do it. Why do I need a mustache? You got a mustache. How do I do? Maybe if I just ghetto lean? It's not good for my posture. It's all fun and games. Look, it's just learning. Who cares if you're wrong? I've been wrong a lot. It happens literally all the time. Well, not recently, but it happened a lot in the past. It don't happen no more, but I'm telling you, there was a phase of my life where it happened all the time. All the time. It felt like everything that I was saying was dumb. Everything. And then you just think, dude. You just think real hard. And I'm telling you, it just starts happening. It just, I don't know what day it was. It just happened, right? Started realizing the incoherency of somebody in my last live tried to do that. Maybe it was this one. It was probably the last one. They're trying to say, I don't collect stamps. And it's like, yeah, but I know every single time when someone says they don't collect stamps, I know every single time what you're talking about. Like, when is the last time a sneaky little stamp collector's coming up to you, or non-stamp collectors come up to you, and you didn't know what they didn't collect, right? Because they were lying about they were using ambiguous language, right? The words that they were talking about, the little square things that you lick, but they weren't little square things that you lick, right? They said stamp, they meant it in the, they were like, oh, I had it on my letterhead, the thing, and then you were like, so how much was the stamp? And then it was wrong. It was like a donkey. That's never happened to you. It's always the same thing every time. When someone's like, yeah, I don't collect stamps, you know exactly what they don't do every time. That you know exactly what it is they're not doing. Even if you catch them with some stamps, the fact that they said they're not a stamp collector, you can infer, hey, can I use this stamp? They'll be like, oh, yeah, you can use it, because you know they're not a collector. Now, it could be they have a collectible stamp, and they're collecting that one collectible stamp. It's like their grandpappy's favorite stamp, and it's worth like $5 now. Used to be worth 1 penny, now it's $5. So that's their one collectible stamp, but they're still not a stamp collector because they don't really care about other stamps unless they have a lot of value. Then they'll collect those, and they're not really collecting the stamp. They're collecting the value. So every time somebody tells you I don't collect a stamp, you know exactly what they mean. When they say I don't believe in a God, you have no fucking clue what they mean. And for you to pretend you know what they mean You're just an asshole at that point. That's you just be a bad faith interlocutor at that point. And you should probably, it would be highly recommended to shut up. That's probably what you should do. You should just shut up about it because you don't have any justification. So butthurt or not is not justification. So I don't tell you. One's belief is not the foundation which their claim is true. It would be through observation. Like, think about the asymmetry here. Think about it. Think about it this way. If you got the atheists and you've got the theists, right? Well, you got the atheists, they lack observation and they lack belief, right? So they don't see a thing, allegedly, and they lack belief in the existence of the thing, which is kind of a logical antecedent, right? It's like, why would I believe in something that I don't, right? That's the question I ask people. Why do you believe in something you can't prove? However, let's get back on topic. You got the atheists, they lack observation and they lack belief. And then on the other side, you got the theists. They lack, generally, we'll talk about these ones. They lack observation, but they have belief. So what's the asymmetry here? Well, if you ask somebody based on a lack of observation, is there merit to a claim? They should be like, not really. Bad merit. And if you ask somebody, well, based on belief, is there merit to a claim? Just because somebody believes something doesn't really mean anything, right? So, but what's the asymmetry then? You got the atheists lack belief and they lack observation. You have the theists have belief but lack observation. And so the asymmetry is the weight granted to belief in this scenario. Because you know that the belief independent, just one's belief in something rationally does not affirm the conclusion, right? But why the credence to the theist then? If they lack observation and they have belief, their belief shouldn't be the avenue that we discuss ontology and epistemics. That shouldn't be the avenue. But the atheists have capitulated to the credibility that one's belief lends to a discussion. That the atheist should be able to say to themselves that, hey, I lack belief and I lack observation. I recognize that my lack of belief doesn't give me foundation, just like their positive belief doesn't give them foundation. It would be, what is the foundation for the belief? It would be the proper epistemics. And typically the atheist is going to recognize there's not a foundation for the belief, so they're not going to believe the thing that the theist is doing. But the question is about the asymmetry, that the theist, they can just assert whatever they want because they're granted the credibility to say that because they're the one with the positive belief. It would be incoherent for the atheist to say, well, God is, and they give you a description of what God is based on something they don't believe. That's incoherent. So where is the credibility coming from that because I believe X, my statement has weight or more merit than the person who does not believe X? Our beliefs are independent of the proposition X being true or whatever, proposition Y being true about X. Whether I believe it or disbelieve or not believe, whatever, has no weight in the veracity of my claim. So why do atheists grant that weight to theists merely on the foundation that they have belief in the thing? They should not be who you go to learn about the nature of a thing, right? If you want to know about the nature of the thing, the only thing you can ask is the thing itself, and it'll tell you not in words. It's not going to use words to tell you what it is. You're going to use manifestation. And you're going to have to be the type of ground monkey that can look at a manifest object and draw upon a properly rich semantic lexicon to give representation to the epistemic model you've developed through your observation, right? That's how you would be able to articulate the thing. Somebody believing something or somebody disbelieving something is not the basis for how or why you're articulating X proposition about Y object. It's not related, but you've been gaslit to see a relationship here, to see that there's merit to specific God claims because person believes it. The only way that you get merit there is if there's a thing there to be believing in, the ontology, right? But that happens sometimes. Sometimes theists will say that box behind me is a God. What happens when a theist does that? What happens when somebody starts worshiping that box as God? You start being like, what? Is it supernatural? I'm like, it's not supernatural. It's just a box holding my coffee. Right? It's what it is. I'm properly representing the epistemics here. I have ontology. I have epistemic foundation right here. It's right there. That's it. I can't read it. That's it. I'm making noise with it and everything. It's there. It's manifest. And if you want to know about God, you could ask me, and I could prove it. I feel like God is a nearly full box of coffee, cheap brand from a store, right? It's the coffee pods. It weighs like a couple pounds or something like that, right? It's made out. The box is made out of cardboard. The little pods are made out of plastic. Animals eat those little pieces of plastic, whatever, right? Like I can prove ontology about my God here behind me. The Pope can't do that. Isn't that weird? Like the Pope can't do that. The Pope can't tell you how much Jesus weighs, but he'll tell you it's God, and you'll believe like that. You've been tricked in there. That you won't believe the truth of the matter, but you'll accept that Jesus is a God and it's got all these properties and stuff. You'll accept that. That's a valid pathway in your brain because you've been inculcated so much by these people with this privilege that they've been on the receiving end of that kind of cultural domination, right? That they've shaped the narrative around your brain that you will so effortlessly slide into, even though you may or may not believe in it, to Jesus is a God. You'll be like, oh, that's fine. That could go in the door. Come on in the door of God's. But then when people talk about boxes being God, you're like, nope, sorry. Nope, doesn't look like anything like Jesus. You can't get in there. And I think that's your problem. That's what's going on in your head. That as an atheist, I have no issues accepting that box behind me is a God if somebody declares it and accepting it, then understanding the ontology. Do we have epistemic agreement? Do I agree? Are we using the same semantics to represent the thing behind me? Because if we're not using the same semantics, then there's some problem with our observation, right? Maybe you're looking at it from a different angle and you see a different shape or something like that. I don't know what shape you'd see. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't see the lid, the little lid popped open. Maybe your box looks like this. Maybe that's the angle that you see it. And you don't see the lid. I don't see the lid no more. There ain't no lid on that box, right? But some other guy behind me on the other side, guess what he's seeing? A lid. There's a lid on that side. It's going to describe a lid. And that's shared interrelated experience that he could be like, well, what about the lid? The lid's not in your description. And I could be like, dude, what do you mean there's no lid? And then he could draw a picture from his side showing me a lid. And I'd be like, whoa. That's a whole nother thing I can't perceive. That's amazing, right? I'll learn something that I didn't know before. That's the shared interrelated experience that we could give each other epistemic pushback. But you guys bought into pure semantic content. You know, the theists say God and you ask how high. Like it's crazy. That's what an atheist will do. A lot of atheists will invent their own God to contextualize atheism. They'll appeal to the God of classical theism to contextualize their atheism. Wow. Absolutely wild how an atheist will appeal to the virtuous definition of the God of classical theism to say that's what I disagree with. It's like, dude, all you did was invented a God to disagree with. That's all you did. You invented all the other gods didn't meet your fancy. So you invented a God that did and then said that's the one I don't believe in. Good job. Good job. Way to prove gods aren't real. Prove God is a thing here. We'll prove this one. And then you'll what? You'll disprove it. You granted it ontology just to say that it's not real. Well, that's it's just silly. I mean, this is why atheism and theism is a false dichotomy. And I don't see anybody disagreeing with that. So I'm going to assume literally everybody in the world agrees with that. And, thanks for all the support, y'all. It's crazy. It's crazy. Why anybody likes what I have to say, but apparently people like it, so I'm gonna keep saying it because it needs to be heard. More people need to hear it, and we need to fix this problem. That's what we need to do. You can't take what is it? Where's my finger? You can't take pure. I can't do backward stuff. Pure semantic content will never be valid epistemic model. This does not equal this. This is you gaslit to see this. Right here. You put the glasses of no gaslighting on. This is what you see. But this is what you see right now. When you talk God, this is God for you, a valid epistemic model. This is what you should be seeing right here. Put the glasses on. There are so many different ways to prove gods. The only thing an atheist can do is pretend to be a God expert and say that's not a God. That's their only out. That's literally the only move that an atheist could do. And that's irrational. Again, you just fall back on a feigned expertise. that you get to tell me that the sun's not a god? I'm sorry, no, you don't. And the people you're protecting, right, are new kids on the block, right? The god of the sun worship is a lot older than these new kids on the block. And in fact, the closer you get to 2026 temporally, the more gods become like people. The farther back you go, they lose that. They lose all these modern objections, all powerful omniscience, everywhereness, can have, a baby with anything. That just starts getting less and less complicated, and you start getting back into animism, nature, right? Like personifying nature. The wind cares about me. The rain is coming, so it cares about us, and it'll be bountiful yields, right? But that ontology is real. The rain's there, the weather comes, like the seasons ebb and flow. These are just early explanations of a wandering mind. And they wondered about what are these patterns, and they gave explanation to the patterns. Absolutely dog shit explanation, but hey, man, they were trying. They didn't have the internet. They didn't have TV. People 300,000 years ago, they didn't have the internet. Imagine what life was like without the internet. Can you guys imagine that? Can you have any conception of what existence is like pre-internet? You had to wipe your butt back then. Like, it was just crazy. Now it's so much different. So, but you guys got your noodle all twisted around, acting like the credibility should be on this side of incoherence instead of that side. Like, that side of incoherence is just, look, primitives believing in stuff that makes them feel good to rationalize this cruel world that we just get dropped in. Can you imagine being big brain monkey like you are right now, but being dropped back 150,000 years ago? Just, wow, that would suck. I just got to say that would suck, man. You stub your toe and you die of herpes, right? Like, immediately. Like, I would not want to live 150,000 years ago, dude. Like, the life expectancy was probably incredibly low, but not because of age. Like, once you got past the threshold, you could live 60 years old, whatever. You get the old ripe age, but man, like, for every one person that made it, like 8 people probably died back then. It's just like in birth and whatever, right? It's just absolutely horrific conditions that our early primitive ancestors had to kind of grow up into. So it is what it is. If you don't got the proper memes to explain all this stuff, you'll be easily manipulated into believing in magic and believing that you understand magic enough to say that magic's not real. I don't know if magic's real or not. I perceive a natural reality, but I mean, a properly sophisticated magical spell would be indistinguishable from nature, wouldn't it? Right? Like, I don't know. Listen, there's it's like Dungeons and Dragons. It's called The World of Darkness, which is like a meta campaign, and then there's like individual stuff under it. One's mage. Oh, you want to come up? Hold up. I see you. There you are. You got to be 18. You got to be 18, or you got to get on.
No, man, I'm 40. I'm 40 years old.
All right, cool.
Yes, sir. Oh,
so
man.
Can you prove it's a dichotomy? Is that what you're up here for?
Yeah. I mean, so first, like, what is your like your background?
Some a box of coffee in my kitchen, basically my kitchen.
No. So I'm sorry. My bad. No. You phrased that, my friend. That was funny. No, I meant like your religious background.
Well, I was born in the United States, so I was inculcated under Christianity, Southern Baptism, until about 12.
Oh, you still hold that to this day?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, so why did you become? Oh, so why did you become atheist?
Well, I wasn't an atheist for very long, but it was because I read The God Delusion, and I got really triggered, and so I interacted with some atheists, and they completely wrecked my religious worldview. But I was only an atheist for like, I don't know, a month or two, something like that.
And what you went? So you was only that, and then you went back to Christianity?
No, I realize that atheism and theism are a false dichotomy.
Meaning you don't believe in both.
Correct. They're both incoherent, just on different
Oh.
levels. Theism is fundamentally incoherent. So it's like saying a square circle, right? Square circle
Yeah.
man. But for you to say you understand square circle man is not true. I know you don't understand square circle man. It's incoherent. It'd be nonsense.
I never talked to somebody that doesn't conform, I mean, like, deal with both. So like, so what do you believe? Okay, so okay, who created the heavens and the earth then?
That begs the question. Creation's already been invalidated by many scientists.
Invalidated?
Yeah, like you can't create energy. You can't destroy energy. Everything is energy. So there's nothing that needs to be explained as created because we already know everything's energy and you can't create energy. So what needs to be created?
Yeah, but we also know that
Wait, don't pivot.
energy.
From that model, what needs to actually, like, what are you asking me about that you know was created that you're saying, hey, how was this created?
Oh, sorry, can you ask that question again?
So
Your
you're
mic was
asking,
going
yeah,
low.
you're asking me about creation, and I'm saying
Okay.
everything is energy, and energy cannot be created. So nothing needs explanation for how it was created. So I'm asking, you're offering me a concept about creation. I'm saying, what in reality are you appealing to that has the created factor? Because I'm not aware of anything that has a created factor. In fact, I'm aware of everything as far as the nerds are saying, everything having a no created factor because it's made of energy and energy cannot be created.
Okay. Oh yeah, man. I guess if you could explain um how energy was able to create um like seeds, tree seeds.
That didn't happen. That's never happened.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Seeds are made out of energy, right?
I mean, that's what you're saying. You're saying
Yeah.
everything come out. You said the energy did it. Then I want to know. I want to know I want to know how it did it from just using the early elements, which were just rock and water.
Well, the same way you did it. You were a baby, right? You said you're 40 now.
Yes.
Okay, so presumably you went from about 10 pounds to what, 200?
You could say that.
Yeah. How'd you do that?
Oh, good, because my biology makeup was from something living,
Yeah, you
not
ate.
non-living,
You
not
consumed
non-living.
food.
No, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to the answer that I'm giving you. Just you got to listen to the answer and ponder on that. The reason that happens because my body makeup, my biology came from something living.
Food.
You believe that, sir? Listen, food is not okay. Something
Say,
that's
no,
alive,
finish
that's
the thought
breathing.
so you can hear how dumb what you were about to say is.
Okay,
Finish it.
okay.
Finish
I
it.
understand, baby.
Yeah, food's not what?
Frank, you good? Okay.
Food's
Okay.
not what?
Sorry about that.
Food isn't living?
It's not breathing, sir.
Oh, so now we're frame shifting to breathing. It's got to be breathing?
It's called life. I mean, that's
Oh,
what that's my
yeah,
whole
so it's
argument,
got to
my
be
point.
breathing? So it's got to have
Yes.
lungs. It's got to respire to be
Well,
alive?
it's got to have a function,
Wow.
sir.
Wow.
It's gotta
Wow.
it's got to have.
Absolutely
Come on.
amazing. You live on the planet of the
This guy's
microbes,
getting upset,
and you
man.
have the hubris to act like lungs are a requirement for life. The overwhelming majority of biomass on this planet is single
Biomass.
cellular. Yeah, biomass is single
Okay.
cellular. Single cellular. And you're literally with your insane level hubris pretending that lungs have anything to do with life.
I just didn't mention just lungs, sir.
Wow.
I'm talking about function, sir. I'm talking about function
Do better.
and purpose,
Do better.
sir. Are you listening?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying do better.
So okay, I'm doing better. So a function and creativity and purpose, right?
Is there anything else you want to tack onto this smorgasbord of nonsense? Can you be more specific?
Okay, so
What are you
also don't
trying to
wanna-
say, man? Say what you mean
What I-
and mean what you say. You're wasting my time
Okay.
with this nonsense,
All right, so
man.
what I'm trying to say that the energy that you're talking about, you have never seen it make anything. No, and not only that, we can even test it. We
What?
can even test this energy. I said we can't even test this energy to see if it can make anything, and you will never see that, sir.
What the hell are you talking about?
I'm talking about the energy that you're talking about that made everything that we see.
Energy goes from high states to lower states. What about that is confusing?
What's the evidence? What's the evidence of that? What's the seed?
Hold on. Don't pivot. Don't pivot. I just did an experiment for it. Don't pivot.
What was that?
If you pivot, I'm removing you from the stage. If you pivot, you address what I did.
He running, bro.
Running? No, you're running. Here's a display. Energy going from high energy to low energy. 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 Are you going to acknowledge it? High energy to low energy? High energy to... Okay, you finally acknowledged it. Good job.
Listen. But you know what I don't see? I don't see where that energy came up with genomes.
Genomes?
Yeah.
So we're pivoting, like we're going with a whole different...
Not pivot. I'm dissecting what you're talking about.
Okay, but you just lost the last one, though. You just acknowledged high energy to low energy.
This guy's not journalist.
You just show me. You just acknowledged high energy to low energy states.
Sir, that doesn't show me what you believe when the Earth formed.
You're pivoting.
All right, man. So
you see what you're doing? We're having a discussion, and you're saying, "Look, I understand that you answered this question, but in your dishonesty, sir, you didn't answer this question I haven't asked yet. Don't treat me like that. Don't treat me like that. Don't. Hey, don't treat. Don't treat me like that. I'm not doing that to you. You don't get to treat that. You don't get to do that to me. I'll remove you from this stage if you treat me like that again. And if you unmute yourself from my stage without me telling you to unmute yourself, I'll remove you from my stage. I moderate my channels. That's what I do. I moderate the conversations I have with people because I am a powder keg. I am doing everything I can to keep my shit together. I don't need people like you getting obstinate on my stage. I'm teaching you. I'm not asking you anything. This stage is for people to learn Igtheism. It's not for me to de-rationalize my brain by learning your model enough to inculcate me into that stuff. I know enough about your model from my model already. I'm not asking you questions. I'm answering a question. You're asking how biological functions do things, and I'm answering those questions. You want to accuse me of pivoting, of not answering this question over here that we haven't even talked about yet. Don't you dare get that dishonest with me. You want to talk about those systems, we'll talk about those systems. But what you're not going to do is treat me like crap because I didn't answer the question that we haven't gotten to yet. That's dishonesty. You do it again, I drop you from the stage. You may unmute yourself.
All right, man. So let's try this again. So the project that you showed me, right? Your small scientific project that you showed me, you took a bottle cap and you all you did was held it and dropped it.
You asked me, show me that energy goes from high energy to low energy. That's what you asked me to demonstrate.
Sir, respectfully.
That's what I demonstrated that.
Sir, respectfully, I never asked you that. I asked you, show me
Play it back. Play it back. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Don't stop gaslighting me.
I know what I said. I know what I said.
You're gaslighting me, buddy. Stop fucking gaslighting me. I know what you said. I know the experiment that I gave you to answer and account for what you said. And I said, if you unmute again without me telling you to unmute yourself, I will remove you. That's the one thing I told myself before coming to TikTok. I will never tolerate some toxic person who's going to unmute themselves to interrupt what I have to say when I muted them to finish what I'm saying. That is toxic behavior. So you will not come back up. You had your opportunity and you blew it. You treated me with utmost disrespect, sir. You asked me questions, I gave you an answer, and you disrespected me by pivoting. You disrespected by misrepresentation. You disrespected by interruption. I wasn't done. I make complex points that are difficult to get across in like one or two statements and stuff. You asked me how I have evidence that energy goes from high energy to low energy, because that's what eating is. Eating is resetting your biological entropy. You are getting energy from compactified energy in the form of food. You shove the food in your mouth, and through biological processes, you gain energy from it. That's what we do as biological systems. But then you want to pivot to other systems, other complex systems, and then denigrate my responses to you as insufficient to answer and account for what we had yet to discuss. That's a level of dishonesty I cannot tolerate. You are using my platform to gaslight people. It's not me that I'm worried about getting gaslit. It's your bad behavior, talking to the people that may come into this room and allowing you to lie and gaslight. You're not going to use my platform for that. I don't care if I'm a small-time creator or not. I'm here to spread information about Igtheism. And I will not let you and the people I am against to toxify this environment with your kind of memetics. I am trying to help people. And all you want to do is make more people for me to help. I'm not interested in that. I want to help people. I don't need you to come up here and gaslight and tell me you didn't say what you said. That is dishonest. You need to learn to listen to your own mouth. Because when you tell people they didn't hear what you said, when you could play it back on live, you're gaslighting. So play it back on the live and watch you in real time gaslight a stranger for no reason because you're insecure about your methodologies or whatever insecurity caused you to come up onto my stream and gaslight me and lie to this audience. It's disgusting behavior, sir. You should do better. Absolutely vile behavior. Anybody else want to come up, prove that it's a dichotomy? Because it's not a dichotomy. False dichotomy. Definitely a false dichotomy. But don't gaslight me because I'll treat you just like that. That's how people who treat people like that deserve. That's the only treatment a gaslighter should ever get. Immediate removal from the conversation until these people learn how to behave in discourse and how to have a conversation. I get I'm a powder keg. I get it. And I'm struggling. I do everything I can to try to respect the rules and be on good behavior as much as possible because I know this freaking robot is looking right at me. So, hey, if I can do it, y'all can do it. And you're not going to disrespect me on my own live. You can go elsewhere. I'm trying to help people. I'm trying to teach people Igtheism. And I do that memetically by offering you the opportunity to push back on this claim. Or make up another claim, and we'll talk about that. If you don't like this one, we can talk about a lot of different claims. I'll talk to you about a lot, but don't be dishonest with me. Don't be like debate bro crap. You got many people that go play that game, and they'll enjoy it with you. They'll have fun. There's people in my chat that love debate bros, and they'll do that stuff. I don't care. I don't want it. It's just not, I'm not into it. I'm not here to debate you. I'm here to teach you about Igtheism, and then you go do Igtheism the way you want to go do Igtheism. I don't care about that back. So... absolutely gross behavior. Anybody want to come up, prove something? Prove something. Let's go. Prove something. Anybody? You got to say that you want to come up. You got to say it because I'm not a famous creator, so I don't have 1,000 subs, and I don't have the little button that allows people to hop up. I don't have that. So you got to do the thing. And I appreciate all the support. Really appreciate it. I see you popping off up there. Shit's crazy. What do we got? We got like 9 people in the queue. 8. 6 people in the queue. I had to count. One of yous has got to be an atheist or a theist. There's no way all of you agree with me. It's not possible. One of you guys is sitting there being like, it's totally a dichotomy. All I need you to do is come up here and tell me why. That's it. Why do you think it's a dichotomy? Because it's not. It's not a dichotomy. You guys know what dichotomies are. A or not A, or A or B. A or B when it's only one A and only one B. That's a dichotomy. Those are the only 2 modalities I know of dichotomies. I could be wrong. There might be more types of dichotomies out there, but these are the only 2 modalities of dichotomy I know. A or not A, which we know atheism versus theism is not A or not A. Stamp collecting or not stamp collecting is A or not A. That is a true A or not A. Either you collect stamps or you just don't collect stamps. We're not concerned about what else you do. It's just the fact that you either collect stamps or you don't. right? What does it look like to not collect stamps? I don't know. No one knows. We haven't codified it yet. What does it look like to not believe in a God? Well, there's a lot of codifications for this. There's a lot of different ways to do that. A lot of different ways, not always the same methodology. So this is clearly not dichotomous. So just prove it. Just prove that theism is one option and that atheism is one option. That's all you got to do. It should be super easy. If it's true, it should be super easy. All you got to do is prove them both. You're going to have to prove them both. It won't be good enough that you just prove one is one option, which you won't be able to do. I'm confident you won't be able to do. But just to be clear, you're going to have to prove that both are just one option. You fail to do that, I win. I win, right? I absolutely dominate. I will end up calling you a nerd, and I'll get pumped for like 3 seconds, and then I'll immediately deflate, and I'll go back to everything being shit. No, it's not just that there are various forms of theism. It's that there are various contradictory forms of theism. You cannot make a coherent category out of theism. And this is why I am confident that it is a false dichotomy. It's just, it's getting people to see it. You got to get them to look at it. You just got to look at it. Just, I'm telling you, just would you look at it? It's more than, like, all right, we'll try it this way. How many one true and only gods are there? Well, there's not one, right? There's not one true and only God. Multiple one true and only gods out there. It just depends on who you ask, right? You ask a Muslim, say, hey, Muslim, how many gods are there? They'll be like, one. There's only one true and only God. There's one. You ask a Christian, you ask them the same question, but like, oh yeah, there's only one. There's just one of those, right? But what happens though? Are they the same? No, they're not. There are parallels, but there's not the same. Like if there was a guy that looked identical to me but wasn't wearing glasses, that ain't me. That's a doppelganger. Kill it like immediately and like take it into like science or something, right? If it's identical, like it has my DNA, it ain't me, man. It ain't me. Get him. Get the nerds that tranquilize it, and you just found an alien, bro. That's an alien right there. That ain't me. So yeah, any differences, and it's not the same thing. It's something different. Like one cell. If one of my quarks goes from here to here, and that's not me anymore. It's like a different thing. It's different, right? So yeah, it's not dichotomous. How can you have multiple one true and only gods in a category of gods? That's, I mean, that's just dumb, right? Like, it's just like, why are you doing that? It's like, you could clearly see this is a one true and only God. And then you're like, yeah, that's what it says. It says one true and only God. And then I'm like, but then this line here, this is a different God. This is a different God. And you're like, yeah, it's a different God. It's a different one. It's not this one. You're like, yeah, it's not that one. It's this one here. And then I read the definition of that one and guess what it says? One true and only God. Right? And I'm like, hey, what is this? And you're like, yeah, I get it. And I'm like, that's a contradiction. You're like, yeah, that's a contradiction. And then I'm like, okay, so why are they both in the same category? Because that should be why you separated the categories. Like, that's just you not doing your job. As a category guy, you're doing the categories on things. That's just you not doing. You should have went like, huh? And then huh? And looked at it and be like, yeah, those are two different things. Put them in two different categories, right? Different things. But you guys want to pretend that there are one true and only gods in the category of God. That's just, come on. There can be one God in the category of gods, wherein which any one of those gods is a one true and only God. Let's just say you started with the list and you went backwards first, right? You started with all the non-one true and only gods, and you got a massive, like, book this thick, comprehensive list of all the other gods. Then the last page, the last guy running up, some jerk this late to the party, and he says, hey, wait, and you look at it and it says one true and only God. You now have to burn that entire tome that you just spent all that time. I'm so sorry. That was a lot of time that you spent gathering information, going all over the world, time traveling, going to alien planets and talking to them to be fair. Then you came back with your big ass massive tone of God's, and then this jerk right at the end comes up to you and says, hey, you forgot one, and it's the one true and only God. And then bam. Now, look, you want to call that a category, and I want to call you a lot of things I can't say on TikTok. So I don't know what to tell you. It is 100% not the case that this is dichotomous in either of the forms of dichotomy. No effing way, nerds. Not possible. Can't happen. Dogs and cats cannot get along. Prove me wrong. All you got to do is prove that it is one option. That's all you got to do. This should be super simple if it's true. Should be super simple. But nothing. None of you guys want to come up here and this is just sad. This is just come on, guys. One of you's got to give me some pushback here. Everybody can't be. We're not allowed. Look, we can't agree on everything, people. The world doesn't work when we just find points of agreement. We got to see. Even relentless Romanian is finally bending to the philosophical weight that Igtheism places on people. That meaning requires proper representation. This is why you got to say what you mean and mean what you say. You got to do this all the time. You can't not do it. Literally, you have to do it all the time. It's hard. It's a burden. But when you're talking to people, you just got to make sense. It's just part of the rules, right? You can't poop on the checkerboard and act like you just played chess, bro. That's not how it works. You got to follow the rules. And so the rules of a dichotomy is it's A or not A. So theism or not atheism. In that form, what's coherent would be stamp collecting or not stamp collecting. The moment a bunch of stamp collecting haters form an opposition to stamp collecting and start trying to stop the stamp collectors from doing their thing, then stamp collecting and no stamp collecting will have to shift to a different logical form, which would be A or B. And as long as stamp collectors maintain homogeny in what stamp collecting is, in a general sense, and as long as the people who don't collect stamps are vehement in a specific or generally specified set of criteria that says this is what it means to be not a stamp collector, then it's fine. But once the anti-stamp collectors, you say you got group one and group B, right? There's originally one group, it's the stamp collector, the anti-stamp collector union, right? But these guys didn't like the way that these guys, like these guys were just pussies, right? These guys were the guys that were getting stuff done. These guys were putting stuff and getting done. So they fractioned, right? They split. Now you got two options. Now, if you're a stamp collector and you're deciding whether you just want to generally not do that activity, you could do that. You could still kind of do. You could generally not do that activity, right? But that's not going to be any form of the current modern understandings of the anti-stamp collecting unions, the anti-league, the League 1 and League 2, that have their disagreements on how to do things, right? This is the problem, people, is that this is a problem of the ambiguity of language. And you people are taking the most clear-cut case of a true-false dichotomy and pretending otherwise because you don't like it and it's emotional. I get you. I understand. And that must be very unfortunate and hard and a very difficult task for you to navigate. I remember doing it a long time ago and it was rough, but I didn't have anybody to help synthesize these thoughts. I had to do this part because I didn't have like Igtheist to talk to. Everybody around me was like some atheist or deist or something like that. I didn't have fellow Igtheists running around until like maybe a couple years ago. And all the people that were hanging around with me that were Igtheists were just people that I talked to and, convinced them otherwise. So it wasn't like I was learning Igtheism from them. I was learning Igtheism from explaining Igtheism to them. You learn when you educate. When you teach somebody something, you learn even more. You learn to articulate it. You get a more detailed understanding of your own propositions when you begin teaching them to other people. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to be a big brain nerd to do Igtheism. I mean, it helps, but this is simple. This is simple stuff. I think all of you can see that it's the case, especially when you're on oppositions, right? Like, if you're a theist and you're looking at atheism, it shouldn't be that difficult for you to realize there's multiple different kinds of atheism. And they all don't say the same thing. They say often contrary, like one group will say they know God's not real. Another group will say, well, I just believe God's not real. And you know that those are two different fundamental positions. One's of a lack of being convinced, and the other is a vehement opposition or rejection. Those are different. And if you're an atheist, I don't understand why you would even begin to push back about theism being fundamentally incoherent, about the one true and only God proposition, that being on the same list as deistic gods and stuff like that. That's incoherent. To say that all these guys belong to the same category when there are mutually exclusive things in that category, it's obviously a broken category. So it should be easy to a rational mind to accept that atheism and theism is a false dichotomy. The problem is that you're not a rational mind. You've been gaslit to believe in either theism or atheism. And this is why you're struggling at understanding the false dichotomy here. Your brain is working overdrive to try to rationalize what you know is irrational, that it's not a dichotomy. That we make it look like a dichotomy because we just package it up with these two cute little words, theism and atheism. But you know that those words unpack into multiple different concepts, multiple, from wide ranging. Some gods have afterlives, some don't, some care, some don't, some are just aspects, some are personifications, right? Like, it's literally all over the fucking board, right? Some are real, some are not real. Right? You literally have no guidance. It's literally whatever the monkey is telling you God is, that's what God is. And you want to pretend that you can construct a dichotomy from that. Sorry. No, you can't. And I think this is why the atheists and the theists hate me so much, specifically the atheists, because they're the ones, and I often go after atheists more just because I expect more from them. I do. They're the ones like trying to fight their way out of the inculcation and into delusion, at least they feel that they are. And so they're the ones with the vested interest of paying attention to logic and stuff like that, because they're trying to get out of it. And I applaud them for their endeavor to do that, but I think they're doing it improperly, meaning they're not going far enough. As a non-stamp collector, I can't tell you anything about what it is for me to not collect stamps. I can't articulate. Now, I share that with atheists. Atheists cannot tell you anything about atheism. They can tell you about other things, but they can't tell you about atheism. Atheism isn't a philosophy. It's a contingent philosophy that requires theism to contextualize. If stamp collectors don't exist, what do you think happens with non-stamp collecting? Does non-stamp collecting start existing? Does non-stamp collecting start being true? No. It just evaporates. It literally should just evaporate, but it doesn't, logically, because we're not always logical beings. Sometimes, in rare cases, people will have children, and then they will gaslight those children into their own beliefs. It's very rare that this happens, that a parent will have a completely unfounded religious belief that they cannot prove, and they, in very rare circumstances, will teach their own child that this is absolute fact. Very rare that this will happen. It's very unfortunate. You may know someone, though. You may know someone who's this happened to, that they were told something was true by a person with too much confidence, and they may have said, hey, it was for their own good or something like that. They may have tried to justify why they lied to this person with what seems to be, at face value, if you don't look into it, as a good answer. I was just protecting them. I just was protecting them. But really, more often than not, it's that they're protecting their own psyche, right? They're trying to convince someone of a falsehood, where like you shouldn't be having this conversation with this person. They're too young, right? For the same reasons we don't talk to children about, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. You shouldn't be talking to them about religion. It's not innocuous. It's not innocent. It doesn't have passive memes. It actively promotes horribles, the worst of them, right? So, I don't know what some of these people are on when they're like, I'm just trying to protect my kid by teaching it the best memes or something. It's like, dude, those are like the worst set of memes. I'm not saying all religions are the worst set of memes, but if you want the worst set of memes, religion is a great resource for research. They've got all the great bad memes. Like they've got all the bad memes. So that's where you go for the bad memes. If you want good memes, you got to go to places, like science, the hard and soft sciences. For the good memes, you probably want to go to the soft sciences, right? The good memes. If you want the accurate memes, you got to go to the hard sciences. Yeah, there's no real rage bait. I'm not rage baiting anybody. If you think I'm rage baiting, you ain't listening. You're just mad. And that's not rage baiting. You getting mad at the stuff I'm saying is not rage baiting. You should be getting mad at the things that I'm saying. Because what I'm saying is somebody took advantage of you. And you know who that somebody is. And you should be getting mad at that. But not get mad at them. Don't get mad at them. Because remember, this happened to them too. Get mad at society and effectuate change in society by talking to people. And tell them, hey, teach your children in the same modality you believe. Right? The same modality. If you're teaching your child in the same modality as you believe, I don't think anybody can hold it against you, because that's just you passing on what you believe is true, how you believe it. And man, those answers are wide spectrum of what that constitutes. And so we really do need to refrain from telling each other, that kind of stuff, that depth. But here's the question I ask people. If religion is so important to you, why do you waste it on ears that don't understand? Why do you do this? If it's so important that your kid get instilled this religion, why don't you wait to teach them about these things until they start asking questions? Why do you get in there early in a precognitive sense before they have any ability to push back and start telling them things are true? You should wait for them to ask, right? When they ask and they get curious, there's nothing wrong with answering. And there's nothing wrong with living your life the way that you believe. And when they ask, hey, dad or mom, why do you cast your magic spell at the dinner table, every day? You could tell them, you'd be like, well, I believe in magic. And I think that my existence and having food is more important than people who are starving in third world countries. And I think I'm super special. And I think all those people don't matter. And so I believe that there's a thing that's paying attention specifically to me at this grand dinner table, this nice house that we live in, and is granting me money to be able to buy this food that I'm putting on the table, right? And your kid will be shocked, right, at the level of disconnect that statement has with general humanity. And that's why you don't wait until post age of reasoning, right? Because there's a narrow window when you can get in there and convince people of certain things, right? But beyond that narrow window, if you are too late to the party to teach people this, it's harder, right? Because you start getting to the age of reason when they start thinking and rationalizing. About 6-7 years old, they start putting two and two together, right? They start feeling like they're being gaslit about Santa Claus and stuff. Then the gig's up. Ha ha, it was just a joke. We were just messing with you, kid. Ruffle the hair, right? Now have your candy, right? You hit them, you hit the Easter Bunny stuff. When it's the pushback, when the pushback times comes with the Easter Bunny, what do we do with kids? We just tell them, all right, the gig's up. We were just joking the whole time. What do we do when the gig's up on religion? Is it the same? Do we just laugh it off, ruffle the hair, tell them we were just testing you? It taught you about morals. It's not real. It's just mom and dad. No, we don't do that. We continue to gaslight them. We gaslight them into their elderly. We gaslight them harder when they get old and they're frail and they feel the death come upon them. We gaslight them even harder. That's what this society does. It constantly gaslights each other into these culturally fashioned beliefs, these memes that spread from one family to the next, and there's literally no justification other than emotions, dispositions, and stuff. And that part's fine. It's fine to be upset and to seek, reasons and all that stuff. What's not fine is shaping the mind of a child to think that it's, useless and deserving of torture and torment for not believing or something like that. Like, this is gross behavior that humans do, and we should stop doing that. Right? There's absolutely nothing wrong. If it's the case, if we know it's the case that there are these demon things and there's this afterlife, then you're absolutely right. It's the best thing to teach your kid about those and the risk and stuff like that. But you don't believe on that modality. You don't know where a demon hell portal is, and you can go look in that demon hell portal and see people being ravaged by demons. You just believe that nonsense. But is that what is that what our parents told us? That, hey, we just believe this nonsense that we don't have any evidence. No, that's not what we say. We never say that. We always say, hey, this is an absolute fact that if you don't do these things, you will literally be ripped apart by demons forever, all eternity. That's a level of certainty that you don't have, right? And so you shouldn't use that abusively. That is abusive for you to go in on somebody like that and manipulate them, to lie to them, to gaslight them. You know that's wrong. You know you don't have any epistemic access to a hell place, but people will gaslight the heck out of their own kids, their neighbors' kids. Strangers will walk up to your kid and teach them about this stuff without your permission, behind your back. They will sneakily try to plant seeds in your kid's mind to corrupt them to their chosen religions. It's not like these people keep that stuff to themselves. They stand on street corners and in front of clinics and stuff, right? Trying to shape the reality around them. People like me want to push back. Well, I got to contend with the atheists, right? I got to go through the frickin' atheists first. They'll go get me some theists, right? Because those atheists love protecting them theists, making sure that us agnostics learn about what God is proper, right? The atheists are going to ensure that us atheists understand God proper. And you're nerd speak, right? No, you're not. No, you're not. You're going to gaslight me into your God of classical theism is what you're going to do. You're not going to teach me God proper. You're just going to inculcate me like you've been inculcated. Like you've been manipulated, you will manipulate. So you got to learn how you were manipulated so that you can not manipulate others. That's what's ethical. It is ethical for you to make that decision as an adult, to sit there and introspectively go, it kind of makes me upset that I found out this stuff, and then don't teach that. Don't pass that. Don't infect another mind with what you reject. Don't do that. It's wrong. You shouldn't need me to point that out. You should just be able to do that all by yourself. Does anybody want to come here and push back any of the prompts? Any of the stuff that I just spewed, all the incoherent nonsense from my atheist mouth? Anybody want to come up here and reason and argument? Or do you just want to be text warriors? It's okay. I get you. I understand. Yeah, you want to come prove something I said wrong? Relentless, you want to invite? Are you 18 or older? I can't invite you. You're not old enough to be invited. I only have Donald, Andre, and Abood. You must be a young account, so yeah, I don't know. Either that or you don't have 1,000 subscribers or something. I don't know what it is, but I don't have 1,000 subscribers, so TikTok doesn't let me have the button to where people can just jump up. I don't have that button, as you all can see. I don't have that option either. It says it's under the multi-guest, right? Settings. Let me check it in. Yeah, it says permission settings, request management, all viewers. All viewers is selected, and then followers only is an option. And then it says some stuff about moderators and background music. I literally have nothing that lets me do it. Yeah, because those lives are probably from people who have 1,000 subscribers or more. I don't. I have like 50 or something. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Because it's either me or it's you is what I was saying. Because people can come up on my live. If I think if you have enough subscribers, you could come up. Like I can invite Donald, Abood and Andre. Because I could invite them. I can't invite you. You're not on my list. Let me refresh. Try leaving and coming back or something. You're not on my list. I don't know. You're not on my list, man. I'm telling you, I've got 3 people on my list. If I could show you, I'd show you. All right, let me refresh. Yeah, no, you're not on my list. It's got to be a setting or something. I don't know what it is. I'm too new to TikTok. I have no idea what's going on. That's why I suck. I don't have TikTok brain yet. I can't pay attention to the side chat and what's happening and have a conversation at the same time. My brain just don't work that. So I appreciate everything you guys are doing to support the channel. I'm trying my best up here. It's hard. But I don't see you on my list, man. Are you Abood? Is your name Abood? Abood Abu Shaban? If that's not you, then I know it's not Andre, and it could be Donald. Are you Donald? I don't see Donald in here, so it could be Donald. But I don't see you. Yeah, I don't see you. I don't know what to tell you, dude. Yeah, I had Back with New Content TV. I had Boss Hog. And I have iFox. That was the dude in the back, the iFox guy. So I don't know, man. Just going to have to give me more time to get more followers or whatever. Yeah, maybe. I have fresh updates. I mean, I'm on the TikTok studio, and you got to update that thing like every time you start it up. So. I don't want to infect or be responsible for anybody else's channel, dude. I told you I am a powder keg. I have a low EQ, or not super low, but I have anger problems, man. And I'm a threat. I'm a threat to my own channel, and I'm a threat to anybody else's channel that I come on. So. Yeah, well, I do. That's what I'm telling you. Do you not listen? Do you not listen? Did I ask you what I want to do? No, I told you what I do. That's what I do. That's how I moderate myself. Try to listen, man. I said no. God, I hate you mouthy fucks, dude. It's like, dude, when people say no, it means no. That's what it means. And I told you it's not okay. That's what I said. I said it's not okay. I don't go to you for my ethics, man. And I don't go to you for love. I don't go to you for hate. I'm not going to you for anything. So you do you, man. I'm doing me. When you show up on my list or you have the ability to join, we'll do it that way. I ain't going to somebody else's domain. I don't do that. You want to come here, you're under my rules. I'm not going to follow your rules. That's why I don't go to your channel. I'm not going to follow your rules. That's why I don't go bouncing around people's channels and getting all up in their faces and stuff. People don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want to just bad image. People that want to come here and hang out and listen to me talk, that's great. They appreciate what I got to say. I'm trying to deal with people that, you know, I disagree with. But no, I'm not going to go to your domain and do the things you want to do. I'm not going to do it. You're going to come to me and talk to me if you want to learn Igtheism. You want to learn Igtheism, you do it from me on my terms. I'm not going to go teach you Igtheism on your terms. Hell with that. It's not interesting to me. Why would I do that? You could learn everything you need to know about Igtheism right here. You're having an issue getting on Doc, and I understand one of us has got an issue with it. Nothing I can do about it today, dude. You're just going to have to wait. That's it. Stop being pushy. I said no. crazy, man. Y'all wonder why I get so freaking hostile. All right, Robotron, you got a problem with my prop, dude? You think atheism, theism's is not a false dichotomy? Something? What is it? Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to get people to understand atheism, so I got the prompt there. I'm trying to get the conversation started. If you don't want to have it, dude, whatever. Whatevs, man. Whatevs. Be a chat freeloader, bro. I don't care. What do I care if you don't learn? It's not my brain. What do you mean nobody understand it? You gotta articulate it, man. That's how you get people to understand you. You say it, and then when it don't make sense, you fix it, and you just kind of rinse and repeat until you come up with something, and then you figured it out. You know, that's kind of how that works, man. It's like it's a process. Do you think it's a false dichotomy? And you still have to go to synagogue. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Man doesn't want to go to a synagogue, and he still has to go to a synagogue. Imagine if I did that to somebody, just walked up to some stranger and said, hey, man, you got to go to this church that I prescribed that you got to go to. Imagine that. That would be crazy. I'd go to jail for that. Right? Probably. Especially if you said, leave me alone, and I didn't. It'd be harassment, wouldn't it? That's what's wild. It's like, you get in the in-group, right, to make the wife. I was just going to make a similar point that you get in the in-group and you tolerate bad behavior from people on the in-group. You know, this is like where Stockholm syndrome comes from, like battered spouse syndrome, you know, battered spouse syndrome. It's crazy what we will allow the people we love to get away with, and how strictly and harshly we will judge all the stuff from the people that are strangers to us or in the out group, not in our family. That the people we love, we somehow lower our expectations for them, and they get away with worse things, worse treatment. How many people have been in relationships where, like, they felt that their spouse liked strangers more, right? And they persisted in that. Like, people will complain that, like, you know, their husband just treats everybody else better, or their wife treats everybody. It's smiles and happiness for everybody else, but for me, when we get home, it's just, you know, nothing but furrowed brows and short words, right? It's a bad, unhealthy relationship is what that is. It's you know, it's people who are kind of at their wits' end. There's a lot of animosity. They're not you know, coping through it, and they're coercing themselves to stay together for social reasons, like children, obligations, you know, things like that. And so well, you don't feel it. That's what I'm saying, is a lot of people, and it may not be true for you, but a lot of people will say exactly that, is they don't feel like they're in that kind of a relationship or an environment. They'll even make excuses and say, well, I might have just, you know, bumped into the wall too hard when I wasn't paying attention. I don't know how that happened. You know, it was an accident, things like that. You know, they'll minimize the efforts of their, you know, abuser in this scenario. They'll minimize their efforts and the abuse to rationalize, because it's easier to understand how cognitive dissonance plays its role in this, because through these proximities that we have, we get a deal of good feeling juices from each other, from a dopamine and serotonin and good feeling juices, that when it comes to be bad times, we're actually tolerant, and we recognize family members as consistent sources of dopamine and stuff like that. So it's no wonder why people, even though they're in an abusive relationship with something, doing something that they're being coerced to do, they don't want to do it, but they're doing it on the behalf of others, why they develop into a lot of animus towards each other. So I'm not saying that lands on you, but that's true of a lot of people in their relationships, especially these relationships around God, where you're meant to feel like you're an undeserving, worthless piece of crap. Those kinds of religions, which, you know, we could discuss whether they make up the majority or the minority of people, but those kinds of religions, yeah, they're horrific. They do some of the grossest actions that you can do to your family members. So it's absolutely wild to me how inculcation leads us to do so many horrible things to each other, that we will literally live lives we don't want to, for no other reason than just tradition. You know, it's just the way things are done. It's how it's done. You know, that's the tradition of it. We're a very strange and dynamic animal. It's not that we can't handle the terribles, because we can. It's just we break under too much pressure. So it's kind of what it is. Like, all of our lives are at moments suffering, and at moments pleasuring. You know, it's an ebb and flow. You can't be happy all the time. But what I do know is that at the end of the day, and in the middle of the day, and at the beginning of the day, literally all of the day, whether you have sun or not, I'm right that Igtheism is the only valid position to take on the topic of the God thing, and that all other ontologies on the God thing just fall as inferior. It's just trash, garbage copy that makes turtles die. So, sorry about that. What you got to do is just, you know, learn better memes. That's really how you get out of this problem. How do you see the problem? You look for a problem. You look for things that just ain't making sense, and you know that atheism and theism don't make sense. There's reasons why it don't make sense. None of the reasons that they make sense are because, you know, well, there are no reasons that they make sense, but there are reasons why people would believe. Lots of reasons why people would believe, and none of them are good, rational reasons. They're all bad reasons. Gaslighting, manipulation, lies, ignorance. These are all the reasons. There's no virtue to stand on when it comes to religions. And because of that there's no virtue, it's not yet ready to consider whether it's right or wrong. It needs to be virtuous first. It needs to be in that form that statements can be made propositional about it. But as it stands, it's pure epistemic representation, or pure semantic representation. There's no epistemic foundation here. There's just pure pure semantics. And our cultures have all convinced us that semantic representation is good enough to discuss the ontology of a topic. And this topic would be the God thing. And I'm saying, nope, can't do that. You need to address a different ontology first. And that's the proclivity of the monkey to believe in things. Because that's really the common uniting factor amongst all gods, is that it's being pointed at by a monkey. It's not a property inherent to itself. It's an extrinsic property, that it has a relational attribute with a monkey, a big brain monkey, standing over it, calling it a god. That's what makes things God. Oh, wait, hold on. You want to come up, Corey? I can invite you up. I see you on my list. You want to come up? You got to be 18. Gotta be 18, man.
Yeah, I'm 44. How you doing?
All right, cool. What's up?
Yeah, it's really weird. It wouldn't let me requests, even though
It's
I
it's
hit
a
replies
it's probably a
all the
me
time.
it's probably a me problem because I don't have enough subscribers.
Yeah, weird. Cool. I'm an atheist. I have a friend that's an ichtheist, and like my understanding of ichtheism is just like somebody who's like an atheist, but also doesn't really want to take the question that seriously. Is it something else to you?
Yeah, it's 100% not that. In fact, I think we're the
Okay.
only ones taking the conversation seriously, and you guys are just playing semantics.
Okay.
That's actually my meme. You see my meme down there? The valid epistemic model, but you put the glasses on, it's just pure semantic content. That's what you are not the guy looking through the glasses. The ichtheist is the guy looking through the glasses.
Okay. So how would you differentiate it? Like, what would an atheist say that an ichtheist would not, or vice versa?
That God exists, I just don't know what makes it a God.
No, that's what an ichtheist would say.
No, that's what an atheist would
or
say.
which one?
That's what an ichtheist would say that an atheist would not be able to say.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I just basically would say that the idea that any kind of godlike beings, I basically, I'm also, I don't believe in like aliens that have visited Earth. I don't believe in Bigfoot. I just think that these things aren't real. We've made them up. So that's what I'm saying about gods. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything else. If atheism means something else to you, that's
Yeah,
fine.
but that would be a category area, and it would be you not taking them seriously because you're forcing on them that they're dealing with fiction, and they're not dealing with fiction. They're dealing with reality.
They're not dealing with what?
They're not.
Fiction?
Yeah, they're
Right.
to them it's not fiction, so they're never going to listen to you tell them that it's fiction.
Well, if you look at the latest video on my channel, he said, I think I'm an atheist now. So sometimes they listen, you know. You can make convincing arguments that
You're
that
giving
you've
an
accidentally thought
anecdote.
of fictional.
You recognize I'm speaking in general terms there. Your anecdote doesn't discount that.
No, right. Well, I'm just saying you can make a convincing argument from, you know, if atheism makes more convincing arguments, I'm all for it because
It does. It makes the only convincing argument. You are not dealing with proper epistemics or ontology with theism and atheism.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'd like to continue this, but I actually do have to run. I thought I had more time when I joined.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll be back.
It.
Just keep me in mind. I'll be back.
I followed you, so I'll see you come up, and yeah, we can hash it out. But I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
All right, bye.
See, I can invite some people, just not everybody. I don't know why. I'm telling you, it's got to be the 1,000 subs or followers. Once I get more, you know, we'll just see. It could be a time thing because I've only been able to stream for 2 days now, so I had to sit through like some bullshit. I just had to sit there for a month, for 30 days. You just request to go live, they'll tell you no, and then you just keep trying, and eventually they'll be like, all right, fuck it, here, I'll give it to you. Just gotta keep hitting the button. See, that's what I mean. It's like there's too many people, like for this guy to come up here and say, well, it's just a non-committal. You don't understand atheism. No offense to you. It's not your fault that it's like this. It's your friend's fault. He's an atheist. Where the hell is he? Where's his frickin' channel out there teaching people what atheism is, right? It's the atheist's fault. Like, there's this stupid wiki article. Everybody reads it, and they're like, oh, you don't have definitions? And I just want to facepalm, right? It's just like, dude, like, if you think an atheist just doesn't have definitions, bro, you're not listening. It ain't about not having definitions. It's not having coherent definitions. Anybody can offer you a definition, right? A shablublu's type of Blarsel snuffer that applies to disciplined individuals. There's a definition. Does that make anything? Does that mean any sense to you? No, it doesn't. Just because you get an utterance doesn't mean you have a proposition. Just because you have an utterance doesn't mean you have a definition, right? Later. So no, it's just, hey, what's up? Lost. It's just the case that if you want a valid proposition, you're going to need more. You're going to need more than semantics. Propositions in pure semantic form are not propositions like that. Not about reality, not about ontos, right? In an analytic sense, sure, you could probably construct some stuff there. No one cares, right? No one. Honestly, no one. You people don't care. No one cares about pure semantic content. No one. What it is you guys have been convinced that it's a valid epistemic model, and that's why you care about it. You don't care about pure semantic. As soon as you find out something's just a pure semantic model here, you guys don't care. And especially even if they'll be like, it's real, and that's the confusion. Is that, look, I get what the atheists are saying when they're saying, hey, it's imaginary. I get you. A lot of them are imaginary. They're not arguing imagination, though, so you're never going to be able to use the modality of imagination to convince them in this manner. Maybe you could convince them otherwise, but they didn't do that. That's not the task. That's not what they're familiar with. That's not what they understand. You've got to speak to them the way they understand it. And I think the better model here is to just teach them a better epistemic model, a more rigorous epistemic model, rather than just being a strict adherent to some semantic model, right? Semantics, they could be accurate or inaccurate. They could be the best words to use or not the best words to use, but we'll never know what the best words to use to represent something's nature unless we interface with that nature. That's how we determine what are the best words to choose to describe it. People think the best words to choose to describe something is what makes me feel good. That's basically what a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people are using this as, the definition, just what makes them feel good. God must be a gay hater or something like that. God must want me to, mutilate parts, or God must, want me to do X, Y, Z, or the other thing. And that must be the case for them, I guess, but it doesn't must be in reality. Things must be what they are. That's what things must be, what they are. Doesn't matter what we understand about stuff. Stuff is perfectly fine being too complicated or not complicating enough to be understood. Things don't have that problem, right? It's people that have that problem, have a difficult time understanding or not understanding things, right? It's hard to not learn or to unlearn things, right? It's hard to not understand how to use a toilet. Something that's it's locked in there. It's muscle memory now. You don't even need to remember. Your brain's, your body knows how to do it. So, I don't know what to say, but I need to get coffee, and I'm going to do this for a second. And you guys got to look at my Q-tips. I'll put them right there. Right back. But that's not my problem, though, because I'm not the one that went around telling people wrong stuff. What happened was people did that to me, and I had to figure out what the wrong stuff was and what the not wrong stuff was. And I think I'm doing fairly decent at that. I think part of how I'm able to do it is I don't let certain people, certain types or classes of people. Hang on. I don't want to yell the whole time. I just don't let certain classes of people drag me down that, right? There are some people that, oh shit, what am I doing here? I'm breaking everything. This is stupid. Get this going. I don't know what I'm doing here. Certain classes of people have no interest in honest discourse. They are locked in. They are locked in. Let's do this. Get some of that going on here. Bam. There we go. It's more like it. They yeah. They don't want to do any of that learning nonsense. They want, misery loves company. They want to bring you down into their delusion with them. That's what you just got to expect. Some people out there, that's all they want to do. They just want to drag you down into their hate. I hate a lot, but don't confuse my message, like the way that I convey the message, with the message itself. I have to caution people that there's no hate in Igtheism. There's just a lot of hate in me. There is a lot of hate in me. I'm a very hateful, resentful person, but that's not Igtheism. So you just gotta be able to filter through, right? Oh God, he showed up. Yeah, Darth, look, you're never coming up, dude. That's just never happening. Not happening. I do not want to expose you to people. I just, no. Oh. It's magic. Oh. I'm just, I'm looking at something. Yep, just looking at something over here. What is that? What's over here on this side? Oh, there's something over here that I'm looking at real quick. I'm looking at this. Oh, it's this bag of pepperonis. Great dog treats. Probably give cancer, don't know. Yeah, but there's people out there in this world that you've got to learn not to engage, because they are nefarious people. They come to you in good tidings, but immediately act terrible. Like, for example, I've never met a Christian who did not think that I deserved just torture. Just torture. They'll tell your children that, right? Like, I've never met a Christian that was not prepared to say this to people. And it's been said to me multiple times, and I don't know what gives people the inkling to think that that's okay to do, to tell strangers this. It's absolutely fine for you to have your beliefs and stuff like that. I think everybody understands that, but it's not okay for you to emotionally abuse people. That's totally wrong to do. Anybody, even if they're your family member and they say it's okay, it's not okay for you to do that. Hurt people don't hurt people. Abusers hurt people and make hurt people hurt. Yepers. One of these days, I shall be able to set my stuff up where people can just join. I'm telling you, I have that. That is on. I've clicked on most, if not all, of the buttons. Yeah, nothing. I guess it's just a me thing. I need more followers. How many followers do I got? I'm working on it, y'all. It's, what is going on? Yeah, I'm nowhere. I got a long ways to go. So. But let's see here. Any nerds? Are there any nerds in the room that believe in wrong stuff and they want to believe in right stuff? nerds. Nothing. We need more prompts, I guess. Let me see here. Oh, nope, not that button. Hold on. Oh gosh darn it. Text. Something fancy. Pick that one. All right, 1. What do we want to say? All atheists must. No, can't put that in there. Atheist. Can you call atheists dumb on here? Is that legal? No. All right, ASK. Let's go. Prove it. Let's go. You think it's you think that it's the case that it's not a false dichotomy? This guy. What are you doing, guy? Yeah, I don't think so. Though in the training, they didn't say that religion was one of, well, they did not say it. They didn't give a comprehensive list, but this little doohickey, like little module package deal, I don't know what to call it, that I took, it said, it didn't say anything about religion. It just said ethnicity and race, gender, what am I leaving out? There's another one. Another go-to. You didn't do it to yourself kind of discriminate. Oh, I think ableism was on there or something like that. Yeah, see that, yeah, I could see that. I haven't been spanked yet for my language. The robot's gotten on me on 2 lives for vaping, I think. So it's definitely watching. It would be so dope to have this robot on Discord. You know how much better Discord would be if we had this robot? Oh man, it'd be so much better. That's what that Discord needs. There'd be like 7 members left on that server though. Yeah, that's what it does. It says it was substances. Was doing substances, and it's like, dude, I think you're just being a little nitpicky there. That's like doing oxygen right now. It's like 99.9% oxygen. Just what an oxygen atmosphere. All right, oh, you're not gonna disagree. Thank you. Liking the live and all the button clicking that I don't even know what does that look like over there. What are you guys doing? You like hitting buttons and stuff? Is that the emojis? I've seen them. I don't know what to do with them though. I don't think I've ever had the things. Yeah, that's dope as fuck. I'm trying, guys. This is hard. You have no idea. Like my brain gets exhausted on TikTok. It is. It's hard to go from the cesspool of politics Discord. I love you, Doobie. I hate your guts too at the same time. You're absolutely one of the worst people I know. I don't really know you that well though, but still, like it's holy crap, bro. What is wrong with you? But beyond that, yeah, you deal with the cesspool of humanity on that server, and holy crap, dude! Like it does. I've seen it do some things to people. Are they bad on here? I haven't seen politics. I might have seen some of them in the politics bot do their stuff, but I don't really pay attention to the politics bot because there's so many different people. All right, Jason, let's go. Prove it. Prove that theism and atheism are not a false dichotomy. You got this, man. Oh wait, you can't come up here. I need somebody to come up here. You guys think if you just ignore me, I'll go away? Because that's just not going to work. I'm not just going to go away. It's not how this works. We got a new person. Just, man, ask. I can't read shit. My brain cannot read your name, dude. I don't know what this word is. Can you, Scott? It should make you stay in here for at least 30 seconds before moving on to the next one. You got to be able to get it out. This guy's name, man, it just messed with my brain. I didn't know where the word was. But there was an E in there. It was an E between ask. See, look. There is an E. Yeah. It's just ask E. So it's eptical. Oh, just a skeptical. God. Dude, I suck. You did it too, though, Nix. You fucked me up. Fucked me up. It's your fault. You did it. It's just a skeptical guy. God, dude, that's so hard to read, bro. This is why Greek sucks, man. All right. Can you prove it's not a false dichotomy? Because I could prove that it is a false dichotomy. My prompt is that atheism and theism equals false dichotomy. I'm hoping that you think that statement is dumb and that you will prove me wrong and I'll get to learn something. Otherwise, the reverse might happen. So be prepared. It's all good, man. All my prompts don't land. I need more prompts. I'm not good with prompts. I was just thinking about that. I was like, I suck with prompts. I tried prompts the other day, and they all sucked. Every one of them. Oh, yeah. I know a prompt. It's one of the ones that suck, but it definitely gets people sometimes. So let's try it. Thanks. I need to sit down lower. It like cuts off. I gotta like squish. What was that gonna? Oh, absence of evidence is. I gotta capitalize it. Is evidence of absence. Topics. Does that work? That looks like it works. Let you juice it up a little bit. Bam. Let's try it. Let's do it. Oh, snap. It's too big. No, it's too small. Bam. Bam. If we got any other topics, we can add to the topic list. It is addable. Let's see here. Yeah, it's visible. Okay. I think it's true. I think I have to be a little sneaky to make it true, but it's not undue sneakiness because other people are sneakifying it. I need a picture on here for a second that I could put up in I could put the square circle one, man, up there. Hold on. I could do a tribute one for a guy that, where is image? There it is. Why am I not? Oh, select here. This guy is on my YouTubes, and he did this. And it's pretty dope. This is so that I could stand up and go get coffee. I got to be able to bam and bam. And then bam. Look, you didn't see nothing. I don't even have legs. Yeah, it looked pretty good. He sent that to me. I thought that was pretty dope. But I can't have that stuff up too long because I guess TikTok is like a perv and it needs to look at monkey faces or something. Kind of reminds me of the AI in Dungeon Crawler Carl, but with feet. All right, Science Jesse. Is this fallacies 101 or what? What do you mean? What is fallacies? No, this is not a fallacy, dude. I'm telling you. If you believe, listen to me. If you believe that this topic right here is not true, it's because you've been gaslit. It's because you've been gaslit. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The feet. You get. I don't know if you've listened to it. It's if you're in it, it's funny as hell though. It is definitely funny. It's a great book. I have nothing but recommendations for that series. Cole, come on, man. Do you want to? Can you come up here? Let me see. Yeah, I could invite you if you want me to invite you. And I can teach you how you've been gaslit into believing that that's not true, because it is true. The absence of evidence is in fact evidence of absence. It only requires this much. Look, this much sneakiness, whereas everybody else is taking like this much. These are at the same level. Look, these are touching. I don't know why my thumb looks like that, but. So I'm going to use this much sneakiness, and this is how much sneakiness has been used on you to get you that the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. So you gotta accept that much instead of that much. So just go like that. That's all you gotta do. Oh, he don't want to do it? He don't want to do it. We got ourselves a keyboard warrior. Yeah, but you can't agree with me, dude. That doesn't make any sense for you to agree with me. No, it's not. It's not contradiction. Topic is not a contradiction. Absence of evidence is evidence of absence. It's just the case, man. Like, invert it. Presence of evidence is evidence of presence. Is that true? Is that one true? It seems like that one's true. Wait, what? Like, hey, I have a dog in my car. You show car, no dog. Is there a dog in the car? Yeah, there's no dog in the car. Yeah. That would be the absence of evidence is evidence of absence. The absence of the evidence of a dog in the car is evidence of the absence of a dog in the car. Yeah, but what's a god, though, Piglet? And that's AI. That's their name. That's their name. Read chat, AI. Do what? Dude, you're just... No, your sentence is flawed. You're saying, in yours, lack of evidence is evidence. No, it's not. The lack of evidence that I would be appealing to is not being equivocated to the evidence of my statement being true. You're making an equivocation fallacy. Nice try, though. Yeah, there's no such thing as a colloquial definition of God. I don't buy into the gaslighting. That's just not real, dude. That's not true. What is it? What do you mean colloquially? Like on 5th Street in Jackson, Alabama, in what Eastern United States, in all of United States, in North America? Well, what about Western Hemisphere? See how your shit's falling apart? Every question. What do you mean I have no definition? When did I say I didn't have any definitions? I got a lot of definitions. I got more definitions I know what to do with. I have more definitions in my brain than I ever use. I don't even use most of them. In fact, I use a lot of words I don't even know the definition for. You ask me a word, I'll be like, shit, I actually only understand how to use it contextually, and I got to go look it up. No. What? What's going on? What do you mean? No, I don't believe in fallacies. What does that even mean to believe in fallacies? I believe that fallacious reasoning exists. Is that what you're asking? Yeah, argument from ignorance is a fallacy, but absence of evidence is evidence of absence is not a fallacy. If that's a fallacy, then presence of evidence is presence of evidence is evidence of presence would be a fallacy. Which, what? How is that? That would not be. There's no way. That's a reductio ad absurdum. There's no way that's a fallacy. It has to be the case. The presence of a thing is evidence of the thing. Like that would literally be like one of the dumbest takes on TikTok today, on all of TikTok. I would wager that on literally, even when you go and it's just like guttural noises and shit, that stuff's smarter. That stuff's way smarter. Sorry about that phone. It's not. It's not the argument for me. That's not even an argument. What do you mean? It's the axiom, if anything. The maxim, I guess. It's a saying. I don't know what you call it. It's not an argument. The premise, I guess. You want to think about it as a premise, but I don't think about it as a premise. I'm just saying that when a thing's not there, that's evidence that thing's not there. Like, and you're like, that's a fallacy, bro. That's a fallacy. No, it's not a fallacy to say if there's not a thing there, there's not a thing there. It's not a fallacy. This is what I mean. It took gaslighting to get you to believe that a thing not being there is evidence or is not evidence of a thing not being there. Like, the levels of gaslighting you've suffered in your life is telling. That you're sitting here trying to believe that that's the case, that a thing not being there is not evidence of a thing not being there. That's just crazy. Like it clearly is. It's like the one thing you do. Like that's literally the only thing you can do is that. That's actually the one thing you can do to prove a thing's not there is show that it's not there. You say, you see this spot? And then your interlocutor goes, yeah, I see that spot. And you say, in this spot, there is no elephant. And then I would look in that spot. I'd be like, and if I don't see an elephant there, I'm going to be like, yep, there's no elephant. Good job. That's what. But if I see an elephant in that spot, then I'm going to be like, no, your statement's wrong. There's definitely an elephant right there. I'm looking at it. It's right there. It's an elephant. That would be the presence of evidence, right? Like if I said there's an elephant right there and there was an elephant right there, then there would be the presence of evidence would be the evidence of presence, right? That just logically, it's tautological, right? It's kind of reciprocated. You know, the presence of evidence then is evidence of presence. That's a thing's there. A thing being there indicates that it's there to your brain. Your brain is like, hey, I think there's something out there. And you're like, what is it? And you're like, yeah, it's big, it's gray, it's got big flappy ears and a big nose. And you're like, oh yeah. Another guy pipes in. He's like, oh yeah, hold on. Wait. Up there it is, an elephant. And then you're like, oh shit, that's an elephant. That's the process. That's what happens. That's what your brain does when you see a thing there. You just see it, and then you figure out what it is. But the whole you've seen it, that you're done. It's there. Like that part is done. The whole what is it? That's not necessary. You don't need to know what an elephant is. You could never have seen an elephant before, and just be like, holy shit, that thing's big. It's right there. You could do that. You don't need words for that. Like there's literally not a word that is required for you to encounter and become aware of the nature of elephants. Semantics is literally not required. There are squirrels on this planet that have been like in a tree with an acorn in their mouth, about to climb the rest of the tree, and an elephant was right there, and the squirrel's like, oh shit. And it like saw the elephant. It was aware of the elephant. And then the elephant went on and did its way and thing, and then the squirrel finished climbing the tree. That happened. That happened to someone. Well, maybe not a squirrel, maybe like a chinchilla or whatever around elephants that do the same thing as squirrels, right? I'm sure that happened sometime. Had to have happened. Or a giraffe. You know, if that's never happened, let's just say it's never happened. It happened with a giraffe or a donkey, right? And even the donkey and the squirrel can cognize each other's existence and just be like, what's up? In their own form, whatever they're saying, you know, like, you know, whatever a donkey sounds like. And then the squirrel's just like, whatever chipmunks do, right? But we're all capable of seeing each other and manifesting and all that stuff. It's like we're there, we're here, right? We can. That's trivial, and you guys are blowing it way out of proportion because you're like, all right, listen. I know that I can't give you the experience stuff that you're looking for, but what I have for you, sir, is an endless mountain of semantics. Are you into some semantics? And I'm like, look, sir, I'm not into any dicks. The semantics. Some bug dicks. I don't care about ant dicks, bug dicks. I don't care about any of that. I'm not into that. I'm not anti some ant dicks. I'm not even anti all ant dicks. Just the word semantics, okay, is what I'm trying to focus on here. What do you mean? No, see, remember I told you you have this much and I just need you to take in that much? You have this much gaslighting going on in your brain of misinformation. I'm just offering you need to go from this to that, right? So if you're going to accept this, you should accept that, right? You can't tell me this is too much. This is too much, but you'll accept that. Not this. Not this much. This is too much for you. You need this much. Right? So listen, Cole, here's the trick. The trick is location. Location is the trick. It's the asymmetry in the inversion. When we invert the absence of evidence is evidence of absence, we get ourselves the presence of evidence is evidence of presence. Now, what does it have? Okay? What does presence have that absence doesn't have? What is it that is baked into presence that absence doesn't have? What is it? What do you think it is? There is definitely something that when we say the word presence, it has something baked. No, well, that's a good one, but it has something baked into. Baked into the concept of presence is what? What is baked into the concept of presence? If you're watching my stream, maybe you can figure out what is baked into what is also included. So my finger's present, right? What is baked into the notion of the presence of my finger? What is that? What is? Let's try it like this. Watch my finger. It's right here, right? You guys can all see where the finger is. Watch. Now you see where it's at? So what is baked into the presence of evidence? Watch. This finger's doing work. This one's just it's the thing, the ontology. Watch as the ontology moves. What's happening with the finger? What is this finger doing? This one's indicating what? Location. Right? So baked into the presence of location, the baked into that is location. So you have, look, that's the asymmetry in the statement is. It's right in the middle. You see it, it's right in the middle. It's the one thing that we didn't change. When we said the absence of evidence is evidence of absence, and then we inverted it, we said the presence of evidence is evidence of presence. It's isness, it's location. All isnesses, right? Isness is tied to a thing with being and manifestation. It's manifest. And that occurs in locations. Those are always in locations. Every there, when we're saying like there is a God, right? There is a God. So you got there is a God, right? It's just you're saying the same thing. There is the same thing as a God. In that statement, it's just one is a semantic referent to contextualize the there is. But there is the a God in the statement, right? And so what we have with presence is location. It's hard to take presence out of the equation. It's hard to take location out of the equation of presence. What does presence mean absent a location? What does that mean? Now, I'm not saying in an unknown location. I mean absent location. What does presence mean when presence is not tied to location? What does that mean? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. It doesn't seem like you could take presence and location and kind of separate them. And so if we have an asymmetry here and we're trying to see if absence of evidence is evidence of absence, if that's not coherent, then its inverse should not be coherent, that the presence of evidence is evidence of presence. The reason that we're not connecting here is that we're talking isness. It's either it is or it isn't, right? And for all locations, wherever location, you would need to specify. That's part of what the word there means. There is reference to specific location. Somewhere is reference to all possible locations. Anywhere is a reference to no requirement for any specific location. So anywhere will do in all locations, right? But when we're talking about presence of a thing, then we're referring to a specific location. And so if we're talking about the absence of a thing and we're not keeping that tethered to location, then we've broken the rule. We kind of messed up. So if you incorporate, remember I said if you just get a little bit, if you just bake a little bit in there, which is location, then you can see how clearly this is the case. Which is a little bit, a little dash of it right here, just a little dash of it. You have exactly that much, but you've taken like all that. And you want to complain about this? No, you don't really want to complain about this. It's just that you've been gaslit to believe that this statement's not true. It's the only true way to represent a thing's non-existence. You start with the location, and you deal with whether there's a thing manifest there or not. If there's nothing manifest there that's consistent with the thing you're trying to describe, then that's the evidence that there's a thing not there. That's how you do that. That's how you rule out, like right behind me, there's not an elephant. There's no elephant behind me. So there's a lack of evidence for an elephant behind me, and because of the lack of elephant evidence, there's no elephant. Now, if there was evidence of an elephant behind me, shit would be all fucked up right now. It'd be pretty bad. I wouldn't be chilling here talking. I'd be like thrown out the window, or my place ripped in half or something like that. It would be really bad. So, what do you mean, Deuce? But you haven't said anything, Cole. You're just upset. You didn't say anything. You just keep saying, "Hey, man, logic." You think your statement's doing any work by just saying, "Hey, man, logic"? You haven't done any work, bro. I just literally detailed how that's literally the only way that you could prove a thing does not exist, is referencing the notion of the object in a location. And if you bake that in, then yeah, that's the only rule you got, is the absence of a thing expected to be in a particular location, not being in that particular location, is evidence that that thing does not exist in that particular location. You want to quibble about accessing all of reality? Well, that would be an asymmetry. Why is it that the theist gets to make the assertion, but then the atheist has to scour the known universe? Why wouldn't it be the case that we would put the burden for location on the person making the claim, and that we wouldn't put any burden on the person saying, well, that nowhere is there a God? Because, I mean, literally, look, there's no elephant right here. There's no elephant right here, no here. As long as I get to pick the location, there's no elephant anywhere I point, right? I just pick all the best spots where there's no elephants, right? And I win. So I could just pick all the spots, and then you have to tell me where do I point my finger where it's not true. Just tell me where to point my finger where it's not true that there is no God, because it seems like any position, no elephant, there is no elephant. So you want to talk about what logic is. You want to misconstrue the statement. It says absence of evidence is evidence of absence. You want to misconstrue the equation here. You want to say that somebody's talking about all of known reality. The absence of money in your bank account is evidence that you don't have money in your bank account. I don't care if you got money outside the bank account. The statement's about your bank account. If it says zero, it's zero. You don't get to play fudgy numbers and all that stuff. It's just the case that the lack of there being a number in your bank account is evidence that there's no numbers in your bank account. That's what we would conclude. You don't get to talk about imaginary numbers somewhere else in reality. That doesn't do us any good. Why would imaginary numbers on another planet somewhere do any good with the zero in your bank account? Do you think anybody gives a shit about that? No one gives a crap about all the numbers in the world. There's an infinite set of numbers. Are there an infinite set of numbers represented in your bank account? The answer is no. There's an obvious disconnect between the type of numbers we find in bank accounts and the type of numbers we find in bullshit claims people make on the internet. It doesn't seem like you have any location where in which this statement would be false. It is the case that you need location. That's what you've been gaslit into, is to accept that you don't need location to address the logical structure of the absence of evidence. You shouldn't be saying that's not true. You should be saying, well, given location, that should be your answer. It should be given location. If I give you location, then the absence of evidence in that place is evidence of absence, right? Just like money in your bank account. If I give you those two locations there, well, the object and the location, money, bank account, I can definitively determine that. But you just want to fall back on your inculcation and just be like, oh, yeah, but that's a contradiction. It's not a contradiction. It's absolutely, where's the P and not P? There's no P and not P. It's not a contradiction. It's just, that's just your mouth flapping while your fingers flapping. That's all it is. You've been just programmed to just assign a logical fallacy to something you can't explain, and you wash your hands of the conversation. Yeah, where's the P and not P? That's all you got to tell me. I'm not asking for anything difficult here. Where's the P and not P in my statement? Just identify the P and not P within a reasonable amount of time. We'll say like 30 seconds. Or you're just a gaslighting gaslighter who gaslights, right? You wouldn't want to be that. You wouldn't be considered a gaslighting gaslighter who gaslights, would you, Cole? Because if you can't show me to pee and not pee, then you're a gaslighter who gaslights, dude. That's not cool. Don't you know that, like, in 2026, people are turning away from that kind of behavior? Even the AI has turned its back on the gaslighters, man. So, you know, you gonna tell me to pee or not pee, or are you just gonna fling about stuff, right? But that's not pee. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the absence of evidence is evidence of absence. Where's the pee or not pee? I mean, do we need the Jeopardy song for you? Is this difficult for you to just admit that it's not a contradiction? Is that too hard for you, buddy? Cole? Is ego overwhelming? See, this is why you just don't say stuff like that, dude. Don't say stupid things that are easily shown to be false. There's no pee or not pee there. You could get me for something else, but you're going to have to try harder, bro. But just say, oh, it's a contradiction, and then not actually explaining it. And then when I ask you to point, it just shows to everyone that this methodology is correct. You're gaslit. You don't have an answer. You just have an emotional disposition. And so you're having a knee-jerk reaction to what I'm saying is an obvious trope. It's a trope to say that the absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. They're trying to convince you that the one thing that rules things out of existence isn't good enough to rule things out of existence. No, that's an equivocation fallacy. You're saying that the conclusion that the thing is absent is evidence of the thing. That's an equivocation, dude. Bro, do better. All you got to do is think and reach a rational conclusion. Think about it first. Right, the statement, Cole, the statement. Absence of evidence means that there is not a thing leaving behind presence, right? So, like, if I was to teleport out of this room right now, if I was just to teleport, do you know what would happen? Do you know physics? Do you have any understanding of physics? Do you know what would happen if I just disappeared right now? Right, every square inch of my skin is under 16 pounds of atmospheric pressure. And my arm, like this arm, is holding back that atmospheric pressure. My whole body is doing that. All over it. It's pushing back. So if I was to teleport, there would likely be some kind of collapse or popping noise of the air collapsing in on itself because I am taking up space. So the evidence of me is the barometric pressure of planet Earth. Now, I'm a negligible amount of it. Like, there's like a lot of zeros before my contribution shows up. But I'm in there. If you take up the atmospheric pressure at the top of Mount Everest, I am in a negligible contributor to that number. Without me, that number goes, it jiggles a little bit. Some of the numbers kind of fluctuate, and then they resettle, and it's a new number. It's not the same number anymore. If I teleport off planet Earth, that's what'll happen. You're not understanding these kinds of relationships, I guess, and evidence is what is left in the presence of a thing. They leave evidence, like a footprint. Well, what's a footprint? It's where the foot was, right? It smushes the mud out of the way. So in a footprint is nothing, right? A footprint is made up of the walls of what was excreted. You have pushed things out of the way to make a footprint because something was there, which is the foot. It leaves it out and there's the evidence of it remain. But while the foot's in there, there's still evidence of a footprint because it's the mud all up in the toes and wrapped around, right? And so when you have a location and the thing is not in the location, there will be an absence of evidence in that location for that thing. You're this dense, bro. And I think that's the last time that I'm going to try to explain this to you because you're not actually providing feedback. You're just doing this weird question thing where you think that the question is an argument, where you think we've already shown that your assertion of fallacy doesn't actually pan out. You're just a really bad faith interlocutor at this point. I'm just going to ignore you. So, to hell with you. You can only try so hard before you got to gas out on these people. It's just, if you look at, and I challenge everybody, if you think I'm wrong about this post assessment, if you look at all of his statements, they're literally these very short questions, right? Where he's under no obligation to give any rational pushback. It's just this endless stream of either that's a fallacy or questioning what I said, and no agreement, no common ground. This is the tactic of a gaslighter right here, where he's refusing to establish the common ground with me on anything that I'm saying. It's just pointless to engage at that level. You can't engage with somebody that wants to be dishonest and not actually acknowledge. Conversations only work when you have common ground, and his tactic is to deny common ground, because he knows that someone like me will use that common ground to make my point, so he won't establish common ground. Literally 100% of the things that I said there, he's disagreed with, and half of what I said was about what's commonly accepted about the presence of evidence. Half of what I said was about that, and this dude has made no connection to that at all. He hasn't addressed that it would be a reductio to try to invalidate the truth of the inverse here, that the presence of evidence is presence of evidence, or evidence of presence. To try to prove that wrong would provide you a reductio. And without the absence of evidence is evidence of absence being true, which is the inverse of the presence of evidence is evidence of presence, then it just doesn't mean anything, because what you are excluding with the principle of excluded middle, that is in fact what you're excluding. The fact that a thing is there means that it is there in this location. And that's what I'm saying, is it's sort of a trick, because when things are there, the location's already hashed out. It's already hashed out, right? So we don't have that part of the conversation. It's an asymmetry. And so to make it symmetrical, you have to answer that question, the asymmetry. So how do we look at this side of it in a fair light? And it would be by understanding that location is required. Because if you take out from the proposition the presence of evidence is evidence of presence, if you take location out of that, it is equally as incoherent as the other. What he's trying to say, he's equally no location. You're right. The absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. No location, that's true. But it's also true of things that are present. It's also true of that form, that location is required. The only way the presence of evidence can be meaningful is coupled with location. So if you're only looking for the inverse law and you have an asymmetry, it's not the inverse. It's not the inversion. You have an asymmetry. And so you have to bake in location. And what they did to you, what they convinced you not to appeal to location in the proposition absence of evidence is evidence of absence. I am saying, in the same sense that the presence of evidence is evidence of presence, and note that I have not used the word location, because it is intrinsic to the function of location, which is the inversion of the lack of evidence. This is why through the principle of excluded middle, we know that it is the case that a thing being there is evidence that a thing is, its negation is not true, right? Its negation cannot be affirmed. That would be a contradiction, right? A thing is a thing, right? This is simple, trivial shit. But your gaslighting has made this hard, because all you have to do, remember I said just a little bit, all you have to do is bake in location to what I'm saying here, and you see I'm right. But you won't be that fair interlocutor that can see the asymmetry that I've pointed out, rectify the asymmetry for this level of inversion, and then apply it so that you can see that it's true, that the absence of evidence is evidence of absence, in the same way that the presence of evidence is evidence of presence. You're just a gaslight person, or gaslit person. So there you have it. I don't know what else to tell you, man. You're never going to buy it, I guess. You don't want to. You don't want to see that. Because it's already baked in on the one form. The presence bakes in location. What is presence absent location? So presence absent location is incoherent. So absence absent location is also incoherent. Absence is with reference to location. You're saying in this spot, something is absent or present. So presence has location, And so does absence has location. It's in this spot. There is no elephant. And because in this spot, there is no elephant leaving evidence in this spot, in this location. You got to bake it in because it was baked into presence. But they didn't have to bake it in because it's just conceptually clear that the presence of things are always in locations. That's just something we observe. But the absence of things is in locations too. Like right here, there's not a moon. There's absence of moon right here. See that? I'm not under a moon right here because there's no evidence of a moon right here. This is trivial, but Cole has been gaslit into believing that there not being a moon right here, literally right above my head, a whole ass moon body, like orbiting moon body, that this is not evidence that there's no moon right here. That's his brain on memetics. He was given the wrong memes. He doesn't get it. If you bake location into what I'm saying, like you bake location into the presence of things, it's clear. And so it's clear that somebody taught you, they spent energy teaching you to avoid the one tool that you use to know things aren't there. Why would somebody teach you this tool to ignore the one thing you would use to prove things aren't there? Because they're gaslighting you. They're manipulating you. They don't want you to believe that if they can't show you a thing, that don't mean they don't have it. It's a good indicator they don't have it, but they want you to feel uncomfortable believing that it's even a possibility. There's no evidence that I don't have a thing if I don't show you. Of course I can prove God. I'm just not going to prove it to you because you whine. How many times you heard that trash? Because you allow it with this nonsense that the absence of evidence is evidence of absence is the rectification to that, right? It's a modification of the Hitchens razor, right? If you buy Hitchens razor but you doubt this, you're a fool. You're a fool. You're a biased fool, right? Because this here is what you use to apply Hitchens razor. This rule right here, that the absence of evidence is evidence of absence. That's Hitchens' rule, or Hitchens' razor. That becomes your justification for why you don't believe X is true about Y, because they're not providing the evidence that would make it true, that would be present in the location where it would be, and it would be the presence of evidence, which would be what would be validating your claim. But you're gaslit. You can't see it. You can't see a simple principle here because you've been gaslit and manipulated into not seeing it. That somebody lowered your confidence that you can actually assert this given location. But what happens when you ask for location? You demand that they put manifestation front and foremost, right? You're demanding the ontology, and they can't do that. They can't be having you ask simple questions like that. They got to minimize your confidence to say, hey, if you can't put a thing right here, then you don't got the thing. They don't want you to say that with any level of confidence. That's a great challenge. It may not necessarily be true, but it's a great challenge. And that we put this on people all the time, like, for finances. You either put the money on the table or you shut up, right? Money talks, bullshit walks, right? If you believe money talks and bullshit walks, then I'm appealing to the bullshit walks right here. This is bullshit walks. And you want to push back to that because you've been gaslit. You've been gaslit. I'm just trying to undo that damage, bro. I'm trying to teach you that all you got to do is apply location to this rule, and you'll see how you've been culturally gaslit and manipulated by the philosophers and religious people. This is one of the ways. This is one of their memetic tools right there. It's a memetic device to get you to not think, because you won't be concerned that you don't see a thing anywhere. You don't see it. That's fine. It's fine. You can expect to not see it. Teach you this terrible standard. Why would you apply this ever at any point? That the absence of a thing isn't evidence of a thing, right? Like, why would you do it? Because they've challenged you, right? They've made you I hate TikTok sometimes. They've prevented you from developing the memetic network to see this simple truth. It's simple, bro. If you disagree with that, then you disagree with the very fundament of what evidence even is. But because it's packaged differently, you're like, oh, no, I can't, that can't be true. That can't be true. This guy can't be true. This just can't, this is bullshit. This is totally bullshit. Everything I've done is bullshit. I don't know how many times I've said it. It's got a tattoo. It's a tattoo right here. Think I care about your fucking tattoo? Your inculcation? How long you believed nonsense? I don't care how long and how many people believe the same nonsense you want to believe. You want to believe that the absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence, you go ahead and do that. Right? But, I mean, that's just how it works. The presence of things is evidence of presence. The absence of things is evidence of absence. Don't know what to tell you. If you don't want the statement to be true, then put God somewhere where that's not true. Tell me where to point this finger where it's not true. Right? Now, I'm not an atheist, so I guarantee there's some theist out there that can get me to point this finger at a location where God's true. I'm going out on a ledge for all you like Christians and stuff like that. Christians, Muslims, Jews, Indians. Tell me where to point this finger. Where the statement, your God does not exist, is not true. Because right there at the end of the tip of my finger, that's where I'm pointing at. Pointing at right here, not my head. Pointing at right here. Your God doesn't exist. Is that true or false? Like what are you going to do? You're like, yeah, it's there. It's just, like you're a monkey and you can't see it. Well, then I win, right? Then I win. You're just conceited and I don't care about your semantic bullshit, pushback, emotional response, right? Like I got that knee-jerk reaction too. I just don't yelp no more when somebody hits it. Well, is it right here? If I point here? What about, does this help out? Let me use two fingers because I've got Shiva and Christianity. All right, where do I point this finger where the statement "there is not God" is false? Just help me. But you guys can't. You can't. You're not going to be able to do that. Let's just be real. You're not going to do that. You're going to sit there and try to gaslight me. Or you're going to sit there and be like, and just hate. I get you. Or you're going to be like, yeah, get him or whatever. But this isn't like team sports, bro. This is just me trying to help you understand that you've been inculcated and gaslit by the nerds, by the anti-nerds like myself, the philosophers and the sophists. They're all in it for their own glories, dude, and to win. But you've been gaslit by the prime gaslighters, man. But then click the disconnect, Evan. The express executive function there, big brain. But yeah, I mean you've been gaslit, and I'm just trying to point at it for you so that you can see it, and then you can stop it, right? You can stop being gaslit. No, I wasn't kidding, dude. Like I appreciate people's supports and stuff, but if they want to support me, they got to understand what I am, and I'm not that kind of monkey. I don't jump through hoops unless there's like something in it for a lot of people, not just me. So, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Bro, I mean, you're talking to a low EQ powder keg that he has emotional outbursts, man. Like, okay, genius. Well, you think you think that was an astute observation that the people in the room needed your help to identify the powder keg? They didn't need your help, bro. You're condescending people, pointing out that I'm an asshole. You're condescending everybody in this chat, letting them know I'm an asshole. Because I'm pretty sure everyone's already figured it out, dude. They don't need your help. I figured it out a long time ago. Some of these guys followed me over from the YouTubes, and I'm sure they knew I was an asshole then. And, people in this room, they're figuring it out. You're right, I am an asshole. But, Cole, you're wrong, right? You're wrong. I'm right, you're wrong. You've been gaslit into believing this trope. And it's nonsense. You should give up, right? Yeah, that's fine. That's 8. Yeah, 6. Fine. It's great. I'm cool with that, Evan. Absolutely cool with it. You're here, though, Evan. What does that say? What does that say? Huh? Nerd? What does it say? It means you lack executive function. You're worse than the people that aren't here because they have executive function and they're living their lives. You're in an environment you can't stand being in. You're like, oh shit, this guy, he's not worth listening to. But let me just tune in a little bit more. You're crazy, dude. You're not gonna make me feel bad, bro. You're not capable of doing that. I would have to elevate you several echelons upwards for me to even remotely start caring that you have an opinion of me. Right? You see what I'm saying? It's a disconnect, bro. Dude, I don't care what you do, nerd. I don't care what any grown-ass adult does, dude. Go do it. You won't. Don't threaten me with what you're just going to go do that I don't care about, right? Like, that's between you and reality, bro. And I'm just a part of it, and I don't care what you do. I'm here to unfuck the cultural damage that decades and eons of cultural gaslighting does to people, to help them, figure it out, to, give them a better perspective. Dude, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit, dude. You make all the videos you want. What, you think I care? You think I care? It's hilarious, man. You think I give a shit? What nerds outside this room do with my memes. Whatever you do, it'll offend me if you spread my memes. If you spread my information to people, that will be the one thing that will trigger the ever-living fuck out of me, dude. Fucking dare you. Evan, you're asking for my help right now. That's why you're exposing yourself to my memes, bro. If you didn't want my help, you'd leave, bro. I don't know what to tell you, though, man. You're obviously triggered, and it's clearly something I said. So I think that's fantabulous, man. If that's all I get from you, it's whatever. I just go to the next guy when they become available. See here. Absolutely do not care. Yeah, but I'm not flat out wrong. It's nice that you could say it, right? You could say things that's... It'd be cool if you could explain stuff, though, have a valid epistemic model, right? That's what I'm complaining against. You see here, this is you guys. This is the pure semantic content, and this is what you think it is, but this is actually what it is. You've been gaslit. It's just your gaslight. Yeah, Nacho, you want to come up here? Come up here. Come up, prove it. You 18? Prove it. Come on, nerd. Let's go, nerd. Invite sent, by the way, Nacho. Offering you up here on stage. Just letting everybody know I've given Nacho the permission to come up here, prove me wrong, but he has declined it. He has instead chosen to be a keyboard warrior. Oh, he's at work. Oh. Is that why you're abusing your boss? Like, who pays? I hope you pay your own check. Or are you stealing from your company right now? Are you stealing from your company? Since you're at work, you're on work's time, right? You're stealing right now, aren't you? Mr. Ethical? Mr. Judging me? Huh? At least I'm not stealing from somebody. No, you're terrible at your job. You're literally fucking off. You should be working. You're stealing from your employer. Does your employer know you're doing this? Does your employer know that you're dicking off on TikTok? Yeah, I'm sure he does. Yeah, I'm sure he does. Or she, whoever you work for, you're stealing from. This can't possibly be your job, man. And you think because it's your paid salary that excuses it? Dude, that's even grosser. That's even more disgusting, right? No, I'm not mad. I'm just calling you out that it's more disgusting that you think it's okay because you're on salary. You're on salary, which is you're expected to do your work, right? That's what salary is. It's not, oh, you get the fuck off because you're on salary now. Are you a civil servant or something? Yeah, it's just flabbergasting. People like you have the nerve to judge me. I offer you to come up on stage, and you say, oh, no, I'm working. You're working my ass, bro. That's what you're working. Yeah, Nix, I mean, it's true. Like, they know I'm right. They know I'm right about this. This is why they're not doing logic and reason and stuff. They're just... Oh, Wah. It's like literally it's an argument from wah. Like this dude's being a poopy head, and he's put up there what I used to think is a logical fallacy. But now that I understand that when you tether location to the statement like you do with presence, that it makes perfect sense, but I won't admit it because I'm a douche, right? Like, or whatever your problem is, you know, you've got an issue that's preventing you from admitting that, yeah, it's true. You remember, because I said before we got started, so you give me a little bit. You're already here, but you give me a little bit and I'll prove it. But no, you can't do it. You can't do it. You won't do it. You can't do it. It's impossible. This is inculcation. This is what happens, people. This is your brain on bad memetics. Well, Blue, that's what people have been telling you, not just myself. They're telling you where evidence is expected is in locations, in spots. We never say that evidence exists in any location. That doesn't make any sense. Even with fields, we wouldn't say that at fields. I mean, yeah, they're intrinsically everywhere, but we only talk about in them as they manifest. So the parts of the fields that we care about are where the interactions occur, not where they're not interacting. There's nothing to study there yet. Maybe there will be a way to study that kind of stuff later, but it's fundamental. You don't get it. You're just butthurt at this point, not actually thinking it. I get in the original form, the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence because you could be referring to any location. I'm saying if you give the same charity to this concept that you do the other side of it, it all makes sense. And you've been gaslit. You've just been tricked to ignore an absence of evidence. You should always be able to demand where the evidence is and what the evidence would look like from the person that's telling you the thing exists. Every single time. If somebody can't tell you what a thing is or where it is, you know it ain't real. You know it ain't real. You know damn sure it ain't real. Because if it was real and they knew it, they'd be giving you that information. So their inability to give you that information is the evidence you would need that they do not have that information. So whatever they're talking about is not about reality. It's their imagination. So their thing doesn't exist. There may be a thing out there somewhere, but since they failed to provide location, their statement is invalid, and it would be the case that the absence of evidence is evidence of absence. That's how we apply this rule, that we understand what evidence is, and we have a certain expectation of location. You have those two things, and you have this statement being fucking true. Just like you need those two things to have the statement, the presence of evidence is evidence of presence. What I'm saying is the asymmetry in this side of it. With the presence, location is automatically granted in observation of manifestation. It's the identity. You're saying that thing. And this is what's been said to you this whole time. You're just freaking out. I'm saying you have been gaslit to misrepresent the importance of absence of evidence, that we could ever just do a knee-jerk reaction and hand wave away the absence of evidence. You've been trained to do that by manipulators, people who wanted to take advantage of you. If somebody didn't want to take advantage of you, they would teach you the opposite side of that incoherence. They would teach you as rigorous as possible to never accept anything as true unless proven. That's unfair. You shouldn't do that. But if they cared about manipulating you, they would make sure that you rejected this rule. If they cared about you being manipulated, they would care about you understanding the other side, the incoherent application of it, where you never trust anybody for anything. So clearly the people who taught you that the absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence are the people who had a vested interest into manipulating you, to lying to you at some point so that they can offer you a conclusion in the absence of evidence, and your guard will be down and you won't care that there won't be evidence. That will not be enough for you to rule it out. But for someone like me, if you're going to say something's true about reality, I want to see it wherever it is. Because if you lack access to that, then you don't have it. It could have changed. It's no longer in that condition. And since you can't give me the time, date, and location and all that shit, I know what you're saying is not true. It would only be true if it corresponded to the state of affairs. And if you do not have immediate ready access to the state of affairs, then you have no justification about your state of affairs. And it's a memory, it's a history. It could be in a state, it could be in a different state. You just remember it being in a state. But since you want to argue that the access to the evidence is super hard and insurmountable problem, I'm just going to apply that back to you and pretend that you never observed the thing and just say that your thing never existed and put the burden on you to show that I'm wrong, since you want to do that whole burden flip crap. So this is why the absence of evidence is evidence of absence, because in this statement, we should have location and knowledge of the expectation of what we're looking for. Just like we have it with the presence of evidence is evidence of presence. We just don't scrutinize that side as much, because it's much easier for our monkey brains to, assess and evaluate that and see that that's true. It's just immediate and readily true that if there's a thing there, then there's a freaking thing there, right? Well, if there's not a thing there, then it's evident that there's not a thing there, right? But the thing is, the key word here, there. The key word is the word there. You've just been gaslit, though, but you don't want to listen to me. You don't want to come to understand how you've been gaslit. You just want to pretend that you're like gaslighting free, like it could never be you. It's not you that can be manipulated. It's everybody else can be manipulated, but not you. You were a different toddler. You were a much smarter toddler and was able to push back in better toddler form, right? You were just a much better toddler than all the other toddlers. So you were the one non-gaslit, well, all of us are the one non-gaslit toddlers, right? Because we're all just like the super smart toddlers. It's ridiculous. Like, it doesn't matter how smart of a toddler we are. We're up against adults, people that have had decades of practice, right? That we have no defenses. As a neonate, we have zero defenses against the powers of the adults who are raising us and their ability to outwit us, right? And so they'll just be able to, and it'll be the craziest stuff. I have a story. I was drinking in my pool, and my nephew comes up to me. And he said, he used my name. He's like, Uncle. And he's like, what is this? And I was like, I turned and I looked at him and I was like, whoa, dude, be very careful with that thing, man. Go put it down where you got it. Go put it back. It's a pterodactyl leg. I told him it was a pterodactyl leg. And his eyes just lit up. He's like, oh, shit. I got a freaking pterodactyl leg. And he was gentle. He went and he put it back. He was only like 5 or 6 years old. He went and put it back and he was all delicate and stuff. And I had to unwind that damage. I did damage to him. I remember. Right, because he started, he got embarrassed when it finally came out. It was like a day later, or whatever, it came out, and he was embarrassed about it. It was not good to do that to him. It embarrassed him, right? But I had also fucked up in a similar way, telling him I did too towards a duty in Vietnam. Now, I've never tried to steal no valor, but I have used it as a joke, and I did it on him, not realizing what the hell I was doing. It was the same time I was drinking at the pool party, and it was like 2 or 3 years later. I took him to a pizza place to go get some pizza, right? And he was sitting down, and he was just like, Uncle, and he says my name. He's like, can I ask you a question? I'm like, yeah, dude, go ahead. And he's like, it's about your time in Vietnam. And I'm just like, what? The fuck are you talking? Like, I don't even remember him, doing this. And he's just like, yeah. And I was just like, whoa. And I said his name. I was like, whoa, listen. I ain't old enough to have been in Vietnam. You understand this, right? And he just kind of stood there and looked at me. And he was just like, and you could see it, right? It went from a very respectful, not trying to cross boundaries, to embarrassment, to like rage, to hatred, to just back to embarrassment, and just like, dude, you're a dick. And then we ate pizza. But look, it's easier than you think, especially when it's adults versus kids. This is why they don't want, kids up here. I don't want kids up here. They're too easy to brainwash. There's no fun in that. Right? They don't have a history of memes and people messing with them and them having to figure stuff out and be rigorous and confident. They don't have that. They're supposed to be taught these things. But when you're teaching them that the absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence, bro, you're doing so much damage. You might as well teach them the other side of that. You might as well tell them that it's always the case that there's not a thing there, then it just doesn't exist anywhere in reality. You might as well just go to that extreme. Right, that's a safer extreme, right? Than the other one. The other one's a more dangerous extreme. They're both wrong, but you should never do either one. You should, teach each brain in accordance to its needs, to be met medically. But You know, people don't want to do that. They want to teach mimetic viruses and get us to channel focus on their preferred one, you know? When was the last time, like, Christians just decided they're going to raise their child in Islam? They just decided it. It doesn't happen, generally. I'm saying it's never happened, but I'm telling you now, I ain't never heard that shit happen. What actual? You want to come up here, Blue? Can you come up here? Are you able to come up here? Let me see. Nope, I can't invite you. Doesn't work. Yeah, Cole, look, I don't know if how long ago, it doesn't give me a timestamp, but I told you, you're making a category error when you're asking, does absence of evidence exist? Because you're asking in reference to the statement absence of evidence. Wouldn't say that the absence of the evidence is what is existing. What is existing is lack of manifestation. That's what's existing. That's what you're saying. Let me see. Let me look again. Yeah, I don't see it. It's an issue with the type of account that I have right now, since I don't have no, it's in the expectation that something is in existence. It's a reductio. Dude, damn it. Why are you doing this? Going around in circles. Blue, it's because I have less than 1,000 followers, I think. So I can invite certain people up, and I think it's people who have 1,000 followers or more. I haven't fact checked that. But it's something to do with the 1,000 followers, and since I'm nowhere near that, it'll be a while before people can just kind of hop on there. I don't understand what's confusing to you about this. Why do you keep asking the question, Cole? If you ask me that question one more time in that form after I've answered that it's a problem asking that question, I'm gonna have to moderate you, bro. I'm not gonna let you troll in my side chat. You refuse to fix your problem. You refuse to engage with what I'm saying needs to be fixed. If you're not gonna fix it, then shut up. I've heard you. Quit repeating yourself. We're at the end of that rail. That's where that rail dead ends. We're not gonna go around where I let you constantly spam in my side chat the same dumb inane comment. I hate when people do that. So shut up. If you're not gonna address my pushback here, then shut up. You ask me that question again, I'm gonna know you're a fucking troll, and I'm gonna moderate you. Can't stand that mouthy shit, dude. I don't like sitting here repeating myself over and over and over and over. You're not gonna get different answers from me. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna start saying different things, no matter how many different ways you ask me the question. And even though I'm like just saying things and not going off some weird script that you guys use, I guess. I don't know. But I'm not going to twist what I say if you ask it differently. I know what I believe. I know how to articulate what I believe. And you not understanding what I'm saying, then constantly misrepresenting what's being said because you're not listening. Fucking done with it, Cole. I don't know how that's entertaining for anybody. Why would you want to do that to somebody? Just go away. Go play. Go outside. But you're not. You're asking the same dumb fucking question over and over that I've answered. You fucking understand. I've answered your fucking question, and you're not responding to what I'm saying. And then because you're not getting what you want to hear, you're just repeating yourself. And if you do it again, I'm fucking moderating you. You either respond to what I said or shut the fuck up. Those are your options. Respond to what I said or shut up. I've responded to you twice now on that proposition. You don't like the answer. That's fine. Then stop asking the question. You're not getting a different answer. If you don't know how to fix your question so that when I read it, it's not all fucked up, then shut up about it. Move on. There's no need for you to sit here and nag over and over expecting me to say something different. I'm not going to say anything different. Nothing is going to say anything different as long as your shit doesn't change. I can't answer it any differently. I've already answered. Play it back on your fucking time, dude. Like I don't want to sit here over and over and over. What why are you still questioning this? No means no, man. Either you say something different or we're not going forward. Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. Dude, you know what? When I asked the AI to make this was the first attempt. And I saw it, and I was like, dude, that's dope. That works really good. But then I noticed the billboard. I'm like, God damn. Billboard's like right in the middle of the road. And I told it, I was like, yeah, can you kind of like move it to the side? And it just got progressively worse. So I was just like, all right, forget it. Just go with that one. Yeah, otherwise I think it was YouTube AI did that. It did pretty good though. I first prompted, I was like, hey, you know, in the movie They Live, I want this, and I just said it. AI's crazy. Yeah, AI can be wonky if you don't rein it in. I don't know. It just starts going crazy. It seems like the more you mess with it, the picture just gets worse and worse. You just got to have like a prime prompt that says everything, like right the first time, and then it'll nail it. But try to make adjustments. Like move the table 1 inch to the left, and it goes from dogs to cats sitting at a table. It's like, I don't know how to do like pictures and stuff like that. I have zero art skills. I think like I don't know what happened to me. I have no artistic ability whatsoever that I know of. I can't draw shapes. Stick figures are still a struggle. They're all lopsided. Their feet aren't the same size and shit. Like it's just terrible. What is this space shit going on? What the hell is this? What was that? Title gifter. What does that do? Thank you. I don't know what it does. This is the first time I've ever seen it. I don't know what to do. I don't have TikTok brain yet, so I don't, it's all new. So I don't know what to do. Thank you, I guess. Yeah, it's dope. Thanks. Appreciate it. Oh, I see. Holy fuck. Look, that's like the most money I've ever made in my life for running my mouth. I'm not even bullshitting. In like one go. It was Andre. I had beat you out. Andre had gotten me, I think it was 43 cents, but I got 7 cents from some mission or some shit. I don't know what the hell I did. And then I got like another cha-ching. It was like 70 more cents or 40 cents or something. And then now it's like $4. I appreciate it. That's crazy. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. It's basically stuck there. But I might be able to use it at some point. I appreciate it. No, I mean it's coming out. I don't know if I'm reading it right, but it says it's like $4 or something. I don't know where it came from specifically. I mean, it was dope. Like I said, it's saying $4 right now. Well, it's a little more. I don't want to like get into like details and stuff. But appreciate it. Adds 1,000 coins to your account. What can I do with the coins? Can I throw them back at people? Can I like do stuff with it? Or is it just like a money thing? I can't exchange that for like TikTok stuff. Okay, so I can't. All right, I'll have to look at it because I don't see how I would. Like I said, this is my like second time using TikTok. So, well, I mean that's not second time using live, and like actually I put some of my YouTube videos on there, but this is my second time. I've only been allowed to go live for like less than 48 hours. That's what I'm trying to get the nerds who hang out in my Discord to come over here. Well, it's not my Discord, but trying to get them to come out over here because I honestly think the quality of conversation over here is a lot better, but it's a lot more high energy for me. I get it's difficult, especially in certain moments. It gets real hard, but that's just because the the camera's got to be on, and it's just a lot of these conversations warp my brain a little bit in real time, so it kind of sucks. But no, I'm trying to get some guys over there to come over here because the quality over on politics is just degenerated to like just this last year is so bad. I don't know what's gone on in the server, but it's just so bad. It used to be a lot better, but I don't know, changing hands or something. But yeah, that's dope. I appreciate it, guys. Shit, it's 3. I gotta pick my dog up. All right, I'm gonna hop off here. I'm definitely coming back. I'm already getting addicted. So, I mean, the conversation's just been much better. I'll be back in a little bit though. I gotta take a break and take care of some stuff. How long does pause live work for? Anybody know? Because there's a way to pause it too. I just learned about doing like some kind of weird TikTok Academy thing, but it didn't tell me how long it lasted. What does it do? Does it like stop the chat? Can the chat still go, or is it just like freeze my frame? Not very long. Yeah, I might as well reset because I'm gonna be gone at least like 30 minutes. The chat would still go, but it'll end the live though. And I could just unpause it when I get back. I have to ask the robot how that works. More for like yeah, no, I got to go pick her up. It'll be a while. At least about a half an hour, and then I'll be back. But I guess I'll see you guys in a little bit. Yeah, I guess I'll end the stream and then I'll just start it back up when I get back. All right, deuces.